Should have picked Cleveland.
And we're live. Welcome back, everybody, to the ANS podcast. Uh, I am your host, Alec Miller. You can catch me on Twitter at Alec Miller0423. And joined from the laugh because he already knows what we're going to talk about at the very end of the day. At the end of the podcast, my man Jesus, what's going on, man?
What's going on? You guys can catch me at The Real Jesus on Twitter, and that's spelled JEEZUS. As always, yes, there's a lot to talk about today. A lot of fun stuff, some serious stuff, unfortunately. But either way, we're gonna make it entertaining.
Yeah, we're gonna get serious. We're gonna get real for a little bit before we jump into some fun fight stuff. But before that, we will talk a little fun, and that's what are you watching? And this week, I will go first. I'll give a TV show. You give a TV show. I give a movie. You give a movie. I'm actually gonna go my movie first, and it's nothing new. It's just I'm doing my watches of every single movie in the movie trivia that's ever been asked question. I'm barely getting into the second match, and the first question in that first match of the first season or whatever was actually, and I want you to answer the question if you can.
Mm-hmm.
It is. What is the name of Ariel's crab friend in The Little Mermaid? You get it?
Is it Sebastian?
It is Sebastian, and that's the movie that I watched this weekend. I know it's lame. I'm 26 years old. I'm a 26-year-old man, but I watched The Little Mermaid. Obviously, I don't enjoy it as much as like when I was a kid. There are those cheesy moments. The music's still fantastic, though. The music still holds up.
It's so funny, man, because as you're young watching these movies, at least for me, I'm like, damn, man, why are there so many damn, music or music montage? And then as you're older, you're like, Hakuna Matata. You're like,
I was singing Kiss the Girl, bro. I was singing it out loud. I had my son in my arms. I was singing. I was like, Kiss the Girl. So, it was a good time. But that's what I watched. Still a good movie. Holds up for sure.
Awesome. That was your movie. What about your show?
For my show, I finished Cobra Kai.
Oh, nice.
Season 1 and 2, loved it. I cannot wait for season 3. It's gonna be so good. John Kreese is the worst. Johnny is finally starting. I know people are having a hard time watching it because they're like, "Who am I supposed to like in this show?" Johnny's kind of a dick. Daniel's kind of a dick. Who am I supposed to cheer for? Well, you really see a lot of growth, and not only Daniel, but a lot from Johnny. And you see that Johnny learns the mistakes that he made as a kid that basically ruined his life because of Cobra Kai, and is just trying to be better. And I love it, man. And I love the father-son dynamic that him and Miguel have, which is played by Xolo Maridueña. I hope to see him in more TV shows and movies. Yeah, man. And I mean, there's so many good characters, man. It's a lot of fun. So if you are a fan of The Karate Kid, definitely check out Cobra Kai. It's an easy watch too. Like it's 2 seasons, 10 episodes apiece. Each one's about 35-40 minutes. Nice. It's not hard to get through.
Yeah, we have that on our to watch list, but we've got a couple other things we got to get through before we get to it. But I think we're gonna be watching it as a family, honestly. So it might take longer because it takes a while to get everybody in the same boat on these things.
Yeah. Only thing I'll say is there are some curse words, but there's no like inappropriate. There's no like sexual stuff going on. There's not. I mean, there's karate violence. It's not anything crazy. It's not Game of Thrones. It's you get the curse word here and there.
Yeah, that's cool, man. I think I have a man. Honestly, I mean, by all means, we don't try to cuss or anything, but I have a 12-year-old and 11-year-old, and they know what's up.
They're gonna hear it.
Yeah, they're gonna hear it. They know what's up, man.
All right. So what's the movie in your TV show for this week?
So the TV show actually is, and I think you talked about it before, and I don't know if I talked about it, but Designated Survivor. I went back. I've seen 2 seasons of it, but my buddy started watching it, and he watched it all through again. He said it got really good. So I said, okay, let me redo this. And when I was gonna go start watching it from season 2 where I ended, my wife wanted to see it, so I went all the way back to episode 1, season 1. So we started watching that, and man, I mean, that first episode, the pilot, is such a drama-filled pilot, man. Like there's so much drama in there. There's so much loose ends. Like, they don't give you a lot, and obviously that's what a pilot's supposed to do, especially for like major channel, major network TV, because it has to be a mass audience. But it was good, man. It was good so far. It's holding up pretty well. So we're going to be watching that for the next couple weeks. As far as movie goes, we just found out that Gemini Man was on Prime. So we just watched Gemini Man. I mean, I liked it. I mean, I can see why some people thought it wasn't good or great. There was some
Ang Lee, right?
It was Ang Lee, Ang Lee. And I mean, I don't know, man. Like the first Hulk movie, people clown on it and don't like it because Ang Lee did it. But I mean, I liked it. I like what he was trying to do with it, and I guess I like that too from directors where they take chances. Like I remember back and I'm gonna go back and watch it too now that I mentioned it. But that first Hulk, he had some panels in his shots which made it look like a comic book. And I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. That's different. I haven't really seen something like that, And then in this one, there was some real creative use of camera work and first person view and stuff like that. Now the CGI stuff, some of it was, I mean, circa.
It's the early 2000s. I think it's like 2002, maybe.
No, Gemini Man.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the Incredible Hulk.
Yeah. No, I'm saying and that's why in Gemini Man.
Okay.
He had some good camera work there as well in the first person point of view, but then the CGI was circa early 2000s. What it looked like. It just looked really fake, The facial stuff looked pretty cool. It kind of does look real, but the movements of the guys and the stuff. Have you seen Gemini Man?
I have not seen it, no.
Okay, it's on Prime, man, so you should check it out.
I'm sure we will. My girl likes she likes Will Smith, so
yeah. I mean, and Will Smith does a good job. There's a lot of stuff that's very, very cliche about the movie. Very, I mean, we've seen this movie before. I don't know why every time I think about this movie, I think about that movie with, I think it's Antonio Banderas and Sylvester Stallone from the mid to late 90s, where it's the same thing where it's Sylvester Stallone is the old hitman and Antonio Banderas is the young one, and they go after him, and then they end up becoming friends and going after the syndicate that turn them against each other or something. I don't know, but that's kind of the story of it. But it's good, man. I enjoyed it. It wasn't a waste of my time. I liked it. I don't know if I'd see it again. Maybe if somebody says, "Did you catch this?" or something, but it wasn't a waste of time.
All right. Well, also before we get into the serious stuff, I want to kind of promote something that we have going on next week. So next week, our live show will not be on Wednesday. It'll actually be on Monday. And the reason for that is because we have our first returning guest, which is Andres Ace Cabrera. He will be back next week of the Movie Trivia Schmodown, of the Deep Cut, of the Meaning of podcast. If you haven't checked out those podcasts, definitely check them out. They're great. The Meaning of podcast, what they do is they cover either a filmmaker and just go over their work, or they'll go over a franchise. So I think recently they just did the Sam Raimi Spider-Man franchise, if I'm not mistaken, with Hector Navarro. And then their first cut is them. They do a live show every week and they get into the deep stuff. Sometimes podcasts don't want to get into political stuff. They have no problem getting into it. Like this past one they did was about holding studios accountable. So definitely check them out, guys. And that's live, and you can donate and then ask questions and stuff. And so definitely go there and check them out. But he will be here back next week to talk Adesanya versus Costa, the gigantic card that we have coming up very, very soon. This weekend. I can't wait, honestly. This is gonna be it's a huge card, which we will break down before we get done tonight. We'll go over maybe a few predictions. I think we both have probably the same people coming out of the top two fights, but it's gonna be exciting.
Yeah, it's gonna be very exciting, man. I'm very excited to have Ace back on. He was very, very good and great guest last time he was on. This is a big fight card, so it's kind of great that we have him on there, to kind of push that as well as being such a great card that we have a big show for you guys. It's just exciting, man. It's exciting. This is almost, I want to say, kind of like the Super Bowl of MMA for this year with how big this card is.
Yeah, for sure.
So we're excited. It's getting a lot of coverage. Embedded dropped already. So very excited about next Monday's show. Again, a one-off. It's only going to be Monday for next week, just because we have our show. We had to get our schedules with Ace to kind of coincide. After that, we'll be back to Wednesdays. But next Monday, guys, put it down on your calendar because it's gonna be a big show.
Yes, Monday night at 8 p.m. Central Time, 6 p.m. PST, wherever you are. That you did math, but 8 p.m. here on our side. So definitely check that out next week, guys, and it's gonna be awesome. I'm really so excited. Like, I'm so glad that he's able to come back, because I think, like you said, we had a great time with him last time. Friend of the show, you could say, and I'm
he's really excited. Friend of the show, man. Friend of the show.
All right, man. Let's get into the tough stuff now. So Colby Covington wins. He beats Tyron Woodley, TKO in the 5th round, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep. Yep. Basically.
Yeah. I didn't watch live, so I saw all the comments that were made after, calling LeBron spineless, saying some racist stuff towards Kamaru Usman. And before I think we both said, it's always, he's playing a character. He's playing a character. He's playing the character. He's gotta market himself some way. This is the way he chose, and it might not be the most moral way to do it, but he did. But that's always a sure way, going his way. Seems to be a sure way to get eyes on you. He never did this. He's never, in my opinion, been racist. You could label him a racist because, of who he wants to affiliate himself with, and I have no problem with that. That is your prerogative. But he's not. I don't think he's ever said anything outright. Maybe he's like, been disrespectful and said some things that were like towing the line, and maybe you can pull something up if you can think or bring any up. But this one is where he crossed the line, I think. And I think the biggest one too is going after LeBron. Calling him, and even calling like basically the Black Lives Matter movement a terrorist movement, a hate group. That's where this whole gimmick stuff has to end. You don't get to hide behind, oh, it's a character I'm playing. He doesn't get to hide behind, oh, it's a character I'm playing. I'm just selling a fight. No, you're not. Now you're being hateful. You're being disgusting, and you're being what I believe to be. You're feeding into the things that I feel the most ashamed about this country. You're feeding into them, and you're using that as a platform. And to me, like, when someone shows you who they are, believe them. And that's what I think we have to do right now. Is he's showing us who he is, what kind of person he is, and I think we need to believe him.
Yeah. So, there's so much to say about Covington, and some others have said it more eloquently than I can. I think he gets a pass because he is white. I don't think he gets asked the tough questions that he should be asked because of that. I think he gets away with a ton because of that. You said he hasn't done anything racist before. Like you said, there's something that you could point to that's potentially racist. When he beat Damian Maia while he was in Brazil, he said, "Brazil, you're a dump. All you filthy animals suck." That's what he said in his post-fight interview in the octagon after beating Damian Maia, who's a well-liked fighter in Brazil. So, man, you can call it a shtick. You can say that it's the wrestling stuff. Wrestling doesn't do this.
Sorry about that.
Wrestling doesn't do this. Wrestling, they're a heel, but they know how to be a heel. And I think this is, the thing. That's the thing about Kobe is it's been said before. He was a nobody until he started talking. He was very bland. He had no personality, and I don't say that as a knock or just to denigrate or down talk him. The worst thing you can say about him is that he's a bigot, but I don't say that to do that. I say it because that's why he wasn't getting any fights, and so he felt it upon himself that he had to create this character potentially. And again, this is all hope. That's hopefully what happened. And then he took this character over the edge.
That's all I believe.
Yeah, and he took this character over the edge, and he doesn't know how to come back from it because now he is this character. and he's getting phone calls from Donald Trump after wins. He talks to Donald Trump Jr. all the time, and they talk to each other over Twitter or whatever. And the problem is also the culture in the UFC, man. Dana White, like I've mentioned to you before, man. He's as much a positive as he is a negative. So he's a net zero for the UFC, because the positive part of him is that he's a fan and he wants to see great fights. I will never doubt that about Dana White. I will never doubt that he wants to see good fights. He wants to see fighters that fight. In some instances, he wants to, make money. I'm so oppressed.
I don't know who that is.
Grago Stone. So he wants to make money, so sometimes he makes fights like Gilbert Burns, because Gilbert Burns can turn around and fight right away, and he's always ready, which fine, whatever. In other instances, he's a bad, net negative to the sport. No fighters union, breaking up fighters union as soon as they can. Low pay. He wants to pay him 17% or less of total revenue, which is horrible. There's no other major sport that does that, not even close. NBA's at 49, NFL's at 50 or 51, if I'm not mistaken, of gross revenues for the players, and he wants to be at 17%. And then the whole free speech thing, and the free speech thing is he lets him say whatever he wants, and he doesn't muzzle them. Now that can be a good thing, or that can be a bad thing. And I'll give you where it's hypocrisy from Dana White. He won't tell Kobe Covington anything. To this day, he hasn't said anything about those comments that Kobe Covington said on Saturday that has caused a stir in the community and has caused so much mainstream, like you said. It was on First Take, like you mentioned, on Monday, which they don't even talk about MMA, and they ended up talking about it. So, but he hasn't said anything. He hasn't come out publicly and said anything, because he's letting them say what they want to say. Yeah. But what I will say is, right around 5 years ago, when he was trying to break into the Chinese market, he muzzled fighters from talking anything about China or saying anything bad about China. I forgot who it was trying to say something, and he muzzled them, and he's saying it wouldn't be a smart business decision to let one of my employees down talk a place that I'm trying to break into, is what he said. Mm-hmm. So that's hypocrisy. That's hypocrisy to me, and it only benefits Dana. When he only does it when it benefits him. Now, Do you think that Dana White, who is an ardent supporter of Donald Trump, who went to the national convention and spoke on his behalf, and again, this isn't politics or anything, I'm just saying, do you think Dana White is going to tell Kobe Covington something about what he said that's racist, being that Kobe Covington is a fan of the president, and the president is a fan of Kobe Covington?
Absolutely not. Like, you're not going to see anything. You might even see him get rewarded for this kind of behavior. He's going to draw eyes now, because he has that Mayweather heat where people are going to want to see him get his face knocked in.
That already happened, though.
Oh, I know, but this is even like he's going to double down on that, because he wants to, whine like a little baby on the post show, yelling at Kamaru Usman after Kamaru Usman broke his jaw, acting like he's got a foot to stand on when he doesn't. In terms of fighting Usman again, like there's plenty of people that have a much more solid ground to stand on when it comes to getting a fight with Usman. But because of these comments, and because he's got the eyes of the president on him, and he's all over the national media now. The Dana White comes from the cloth of no press is. The only bad press is no press.
Agreed.
Like, even bad, and that's where Dana comes from. Dana comes from that part, that like generation that believes that if as long as they're talking about you, if they're saying bad things about you, at least they're talking about you. And I think it's a horrible way, especially with the state of this country. I just think that's a dangerous thing to have on television. Yeah, like, man, having him be the forefront is dangerous.
Agreed, man. Agreed. And not having any, again, you want to have free speech, but between free speech and hate speech, and when you're racist and I mean, dude, like, there's so many more things you can talk about Kamaru Usman.
Mhm.
And I mean, and then for what they were saying was that he one American calling another American non-American. Like, how
Yeah.
ridiculous is that? So it's just frustrating, man. I don't think we're gonna see anything go down with it. Hopefully we do. Hopefully we see something by. I think actually tomorrow there'll be some press conferences on Friday. So hopefully, no, tomorrow's Thursday, right? So on Friday we'll see some press conferences with Dana White. Hopefully we'll see something come out of that where somebody asks him. I know John Morgan from MMA Junkie has talked about it, so he's probably gonna ask a question. Hopefully, if not, somebody else can step up and ask a question to Dana White and see what he says. But I don't hold my breath on that. Like I mentioned, there's so much stuff, and real quick, another thing that I wanted to say about this is, I sent you a video, and we'll probably tweet it on our Twitter feed of another MMA podcast that's also like us on the grind, and they come out with weekly shows and things of that nature, and they talked about this as well. And it's two African American guys talking about MMA. They talked about it, and they said, all the bad comments that they're getting on that video that they posted, and it's just a sad reflection of the MMA community, or not the whole community, but a portion of that community. And again, it's a very loud portion, and it's a very loud contingency of people, when not all MMA fans by any stretch is like that, or agrees with the views of Colby Covington and his remarks in MMA. Like I mentioned to you before, and like I've written about, there's a lot of sportsmanship. There's a lot of understanding the grind, understanding the mixed martial arts, and the respect that goes along with that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I mean, if you look at the champions, not all of them are from the U.S., man. You got people from Brazil. You got Adesanya's from New Zealand. You got Wei Li, who's from China. So it's a very diverse and multicultural sport.
Absolutely.
And for someone to be at the level that they're at, and to be such narrow-minded and ridiculous, man, it's just ridiculous. And it's just a bad reflection, especially for those guys. Maybe even like a Grago Stone Clan guy. I don't know if he was trying to be funny or not, but it's just a bad reflection of the community, man. And it just says more about that than where we should be at as a community for MMA.
Yeah. With your whole first thing about freedom of speech and stuff, I always was the thought of, like, you have the freedom to say what you want to say. You don't have freedom of consequences.
Mm-hmm.
You have every right to say any kind of hate speech you want to say. But when you get your ass beat, don't go, but I have freedom of speech. Like, no. You had the freedom to say what you wanted to say. And I had the freedom to beat the shit out of you, or to take away your sponsorships, or to do this or to do that. Like, you don't have freedom of consequences. You say something stupid like Colby's done, you got to deal with the consequences, and don't talk about, oh, my freedom of speech. You did say freedom of speech. It's more about, like, oh, I can say what I want to say without being put in jail. Like, that's what freedom of speech is. Like, you can you have the freedom to criticize your government, because guess what? There's places in this world where you criticize your government, you go to jail. You criticize your government, you get put to death. Like, come on, guys.
Well, and again, I mean, yeah, you're right. But again, there's certain things that aren't allowed. Like, hate speech is not allowed. You can't go into
the swastika over in I believe it's in the UK is actually banned.
Yeah, well, but the same thing, like, you can't go into a movie theater and yell fire. You can't go on a plane and yell bomb. Like, there's certain things that you can't do. And I think, I mean, I don't know 100% if hate speech is one of those, but I know that hate speech is something that is not really the same as freedom of speech, man. Like, let me see. Hate speech laws.
And then another thing I wanted to say before we move on, and you can go ahead and drop your thing after. I believe that it is the responsibility of the media to hold Dana White accountable, to hold Colby Covington accountable. That's why I like that you mentioned that you hope MMA Junkie is over there and asking the hard questions, because if these questions aren't asked and these men aren't, that's what the media is supposed to do. This media was literally created so you hold politicians accountable, you hold people in power accountable, and that's what needs to be done here. These media members need to hold Dana White and Colby Covington up to the same standard that they held, and I mentioned this before we came on air, that they held Drew Brees to when Drew Brees said something out of ignorance and not out of hate. Out of ignorance, they wanted to attack Drew Brees, and you had every right to be mad at Drew Brees, but do the same thing whenever it's someone that has that's coming from a place of hate in their heart instead of ignorance. Maybe with ignorance, you maybe take a step back and say, hold on, let's ask him what he meant. Let's ask him to build upon what he's just said. With this, you don't need him to build upon what he said. Take him at his word, and hold him accountable. I think that there's no accountability in the world of media, in the world of sports media anymore, and it's ridiculous.
Man, agreed. Agreed. You're right.
Did you see the Skip Bayless to me?
Yeah, it's just there's so much, man, because we're in a time where the doesn't hold, the people that they should be accountable, not just in sports. And it's so frustrating, man. It's like, just ask the question. Just ask them that question.
Not hard.
It's not hard. It's not hard, man.
Sam Acho just did it to, or not Sam Acho, Emmanuel Acho just did it to Roger Goodell. They had it on TV where it was a show. Well, he had him on his new show that's called Uncomfortable Conversations with a Black Man.
Oh, nice.
And he was asking him about Kaepernick, and that's when you got the true comments from Goodell, or I think the first time Goodell said Kaepernick's name, and basically said, we did him wrong. We were wrong. He was right, and we should have listened. And basically taking accountability. You could take, and people, they're still mad at Goodell for that, and that they have every right to be angry at him for that. But I also believe in, being able to accept responsibility for your mistakes and owning up to your mistakes. And that's what he did. I'm not saying that Roger Goodell is a good commissioner, but when he stood in the face of somebody who asked him the hard questions, he didn't back down.
Not only that, but that's progress, man. That's progress.
Exactly.
It's no longer, Voldemort and you don't say his name. It's there, you said his name, you said his stuff, you admit it wrong, and now people can hold you accountable to that. Hey, you said you were wrong, so what are you doing to fix it? You know what I mean? It's imperfect. It's imperfect, but it's what we have, and it's what we need to use to move forward and to get out of these dumb situations that we're in, man. Dude, I so want MMA to be a mainstream sport, and there's so many hurdles to get there, and we don't need a racist one. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
MMA, the sport of MMA does not need a racist hurdle to get over to get there, man. It's just ridiculous, dude. There's fighter pay, there's blood, there's people sensitivities, and there's no union, and people getting hurt, and managers taking advantage of fighters, and weight cuts and all this other crap. We don't need racism in there, man. We don't need it.
This is a step back, honestly, man. This is a step back. You allow this racist to say what he wants to say, and possibly even reward him for said behavior. You think, because you want to satisfy one side, now you're losing a whole nother side that believes that's gonna think why is this man still working? Why is this man still fighting? He said some extremely racist things about an entire community. Called one of the leading humanitarians for this issue, and called him a coward. With no. Do you think LeBron was ever thinking about Colby? No. So why in the world is Colby putting LeBron's name in his mouth? It doesn't make sense to me how you could think like that. I don't understand. I never understand the idea that support, you have, in order to keep your business, you have to support, you have to make sure that one side is for sure satisfied, even if that's the immoral way to go. So you're satisfying the right side, which, quote unquote, right. I don't want to just say the white, it's the right side, the direction.
Yeah.
The direction. You think that keeping those fans that think that what Colby's saying is okay is better for the sport, but yeah, you're going to lose all these people that are on this side. There's a very huge possibility of that.
Yeah, and the problem that I see with that is I don't think, I honestly don't. I mean, maybe I'm naive, but I honestly don't think it's a big subset of fans. I think it's a small subset of fans that are, bigots or racist or have problems with
Yeah,
this or that, which is crazy because, like I mentioned, there's so many,
they're just
diverse.
the louder ones.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They're the louder ones, and so when you pander to them and when you make moves based on them because they're louder, you're alienating a bigger fan base that you have, you
Yep.
know, and that's what I'm saying. That, and I mean, that's the intricacies of what I mentioned of hurdles, that we don't need this hurdle. If Dana White sees this as an issue and says, well, has to make a decision. Well, which one should we do? And he has, the president's, in his ear telling him, hey, Kobe needs a title shot, instead of saying, hey, Kobe's not going to get a title shot because he's suspended for whatever he said or whatever, then we have a problem, man. And again, that's another hurdle that they're just adding to gain acceptance into the mainstream. And it just sucks, man.
I 100% agree, man. I really do. So we will obviously, check back next week, see if there's any change, because as you said, there will be a lot of press on Friday, a lot of press on Saturday, and I believe maybe even a lot of press on Sunday, depending on what happens in that UFC main event. So we will see going forward. If there's any update, we will update you guys next Monday. Remember that Monday,
8 p.m. Central Time.
Yes, but don't let what Colby said ruin the fact that was a very good card.
Yes, very
entertaining. A lot of really great performances, great fights all around. And we're going to get into them right now, starting with, as you can see, I'm not where I'm supposed to be. That's why I am I am talking slow. But we're going to start at the first fight, which I didn't realize who Tyson Nam was fighting. Otherwise, I probably would have went with who they were fighting, and now I'm glad I didn't. Tyson Nam against Jerome Rivera, young guy Jerome Rivera, I believe is the Dana White Contender Series alum, and making his debut in the UFC. This is not the guy to make your UFC debut against, man. Tyson Nam, coming off of a nasty knockout, gets another one.
Yeah, I went back and watched this fight. I didn't see it live, but like you said, this guy Nam is. I mean, he's on a streak, man. He's on a streak, and he's not a guy you want to fight right now. He's hot.
I think this is 3.
Wow.
3 in a row, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe 2, but I'm thinking 3. So I'm about to check right now. But go ahead and
he lost.
talk about it.
He lost to Kara France.
Oh, that's right.
February. So he's on a 2-fight win streak with 2 monster KOs.
Yeah, not versus Adeshev. He knocked out Adeshev.
Yeah, man. He's in the bantamweight division, man. 135 pounds. I don't think we'll see him opening a fight card anytime soon. No. Being that he's had 2 knockouts in a row, two nice knockouts in a row. So we'll see.
One more thing that Dominic Cruz brought up: when this man came into the UFC, his debut fights, number 1 was against Sergio Pettis, and then number 2 was against Kai Kara France, who is a top guy in the division he's top guy in the flyweight division.
Yep. Yeah. I
mean, two crazy guys to start your career against.
Well, I mean, the thing is, man, especially in those lighter weights, it's a Shark Tank, man, in the UFC, man. Like, this is not a feeder league. This is not what is it? A G League. This is the show. So when you get to the show, you're fighting tough guys, man, that are well-rounded, and you're gonna have to be on top of your game. And it looks like he's putting it together and getting some good. I mean, Jerome Rivera is not a scrub, man. We saw him on the Contender Series.
He's great.
He's a good fighter, man. He's a good fighter. Yeah. So really, really interesting to see where Tyson Nam goes.
Yeah. So and then taking into account also those 2 fights against Pettis and France, it's not like he got knocked out. They both went to decisions. So this guy's going to be a guy to look out for in the bantamweight division for sure, and an already stacked bantamweight division. I would like to see him get a top billing on a prelim card. Maybe get like the fight before the featured prelim or the featured prelim.
Yeah, man, he's not. He shouldn't be at the bottom of a card anymore, man. He needs to be in front of more eyes. He's a good fighter. Like I said, he's very exciting. So yeah, put him in front of more people, man.
Absolutely. All right, next up. This is a good fight. Andre Ewell and Erwin Rivera. Andre Ewell gets the win in the bantamweight division in decision, but I believe it was a split decision.
It was a split decision. I don't know, man. It was tough. I kind of had Rivera winning just because Ewell was. I don't know. He was frustrating, man. Like I felt like he could have gone for the finish at a couple points, and he was just. I don't know. He was just. Like it looked like he wasn't in rhythm the whole fight. Like he looked like he was out of rhythm the whole fight. Maybe he wasn't gauging distance right or something. He's so tall, and Rivera was able to kind of like nullify that and kind of get in on him. But he did take the win. He's a guy that a lot of people are watching, especially in the bantamweight division. I don't know. I just thought it wasn't a great performance.
No, I think Ewell came on really strong in the beginning of the fight, and then he just seemed to fade. But we will say, and Dominic Cruz brought it up, his wrestling defense was great. He has some great wrestling defense.
It got way better from before, definitely.
Yeah, so it's improvement. I just don't think that this was enough. I don't have a decision on who I thought won. I need to go back and rewatch it if I'm going to give a decision. But good fight from both guys. I think Rivera just got to turn on a little faster, and you win that fight for sure. But also, how about the nickname, Mr. Highlight? I like it.
For who? Because there was no highlight.
Andre Ewell. I know.
There was no.
I know.
It's like the Queen of Violence. They got to show you highlights, man.
Hey, she did though. She did.
Eventually, but
she's done. She's turning it on. It on. She has to get comfortable. But all right, let's get to the next one, which is our first performance bonus, and that goes to Randy Costa in the bantamweight division, knocking out Journey Newsom in 41 seconds. Cold. It was great.
It was a high kick, right? It was a high kick.
It was a high kick. Like he was like a little low though. Like it looked like he was like ducking.
He was coming up and he just didn't get out of the way. But it was interesting because I don't know. I think I had one of my cousins was over here helping me on Saturday, and my wife was watching it with me, and that was a weird knockout in the sense that the foot hit, like his foot hit him right on the cheek, right on the jaw. Mm-hmm. And my wife made a good point. She's like, wow, can his foot break from that? And I said, yeah, you're not supposed to hit him with the foot. You're supposed to hit him with your shin or the, like right where your foot meets your leg, a little nook right there. Yeah. Because if you hit with foot, you have a lot of little bones there that can break. And it didn't matter because he hit him with that and he knocked him out cold with that, man. What a knockout, man.
It was great, man. So he got his $50,000. So good on him, man. Looking forward to seeing him going forward. It's an exciting guy. I like his nickname too, the Zohan.
The Zohan. That's a good name, man. That's a good name. That's top tier right there.
All right. Because at the end of this, we're gonna pick our favorite. All right. Next up, we have in the featherweight division, Derek Minor, submitting TJ Laramie very quickly in 48 seconds with a guillotine. Got him in the guillotine, and this is what this is going to come back that I kept hearing. You can't leave your head there. It's going to come back when we talk about Johnny Walker versus Ryan Spann. It's going to come up when we talk about the Bueno Silva and Romero Barella, and it's going to come up when we talk about Bektic and Damon Jackson. You can't leave yourself in a vulnerable position. And that's what Laramie did. He kept going for the takedown, left his chin right there, and Derek Minor was able to put his arm underneath it.
This is a combination of, in my opinion, because it was Laramie's debut, right?
Yes.
This is a combination to me of UFC jitters, bad game planning, and horrible fight IQ. Mm-hmm. Minor has I think before this fight, 11 submissions, and guess how many were by guillotine choke?
The majority of them.
11 of them.
Oh, all of them.
Yes. So
fantastic.
So he has he has a really good guillotine, and so you're a wrestler. Yeah, I understand you're a wrestler, but you have to game plan for that and understand that if you're taking somebody down, you can't leave your neck out there, especially a guy that's really good at a guillotine. So this is also matchmaking. They did this on purpose. You're a wrestler. We're going to put you up against a guy who eats wrestlers for lunch and breakfast and spits them out for dinner, or whatever you want to call it, and
See how
and
you do.
and see how you do. And he didn't do well. He didn't show up. He didn't realize what he was up against. I mean, 9 times out of 10, somebody with the skill set of Laramie beats Minner. Minner looks like a journeyman, and a good wrestler that doesn't leave his neck out there is going to hold him down and beat him up for 3 rounds. And I think that's what Laramie was trying to do. He just messed up and left his neck out.
Yeah, well, he ended up paying for it. We'll see going forward. But next up, we have this one I want to get into, man. Jessica Rose Clark versus Sarah Alper, and another, in my opinion, referee botch.
Ooh.
It's close. No, the botch didn't come from from stopping it. The botch came from restarting the fight.
I think
in the rules, he's not allowed to do that. If they go to replay,
yeah, he's not. He's not
so
allowed.
That's the only botch.
Well, yeah, I also think that it's a botch on the corner's part. I mean, there's a prime time to stop the fight,
Argue
man.
That shit.
No, not only that. I mean, you can. I mean, honestly, they can probably still argue it and get a no contest. the losing side. I'm saying the losing side could probably still argue.
Oh
it
yeah.
Contest. But what I'm saying is, like, from a corner standpoint, Alpar didn't need to take any more damage, dude. She was done at that point. It was over. Exactly. It was over. You didn't need to take any more damage. Just throw in the towel, call it a day. It wasn't your fight. And the thing is, I think the first round was very competitive. I think she might have won the first round.
I think I went Rose Clark because she stuffed a lot of the takedowns. Was a lot of elbows. I think she rocked her with one of the elbows in the first. And then I think ended on the top.
She ended on the top. I think there was 2 takedowns in that round that she got. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it was close.
Close.
Maybe she did, maybe she didn't, but it was close.
It was that second round that the elbow started to really hurt.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So in the first round, you were competing. The second round, it was lost, and the third round, that was it. It was over. You gassed. Too many takedown attempts that were stuffed. Not enough cardio. Too much damage, and then that knee. And it was over, man. They should have stopped it. Said, okay, that's enough. She's learned her lesson. She's not going to come in here with no cardio or with a better game plan or whatever. And let's move on to the next fight. But instead, they're like, no, let's restart it. She's good. She's going to win this fight because she needs a knockout to win this fight. And instead, she took a beating again. She took a double beating when she didn't have to.
Yeah, it's one of those rare moments in the UFC where it's just hard to watch. Like, I did not want to, especially after that knee, man. Like, trust me, I thought from watching it in real time, I thought it was an illegal knee.
It was so
and even Rose Clark said I thought it was. She's like, I thought it was an illegal knee. I was about to start apologizing. It was extremely close.
It was so close.
And I'm glad she came out and was like, no, I knew it was illegal knee. Like, she was like, I had no idea.
It was. I mean, like they always say, man, in sports is a game of inches, and there was literally like an inch in between. That's how close it was.
Yeah, literally, she was just about to. Her butt was just about to hit the ground. But just and there'd be a much bigger problem thrown about this if Jessica Rose Clark would have lost.
Yeah, man. Imagine if she would have came back and lost, dude.
Oh man, yeah, it would have been bad. But no, it was pretty obvious that Alper was done, and it was just it's that pride thing of not wanting to give in, and I completely understand it. But her corner needs to step in at that point, 100%. Also, Tyone needs to stop making rules.
Exactly. They got to protect the fighters, man. They got to protect the fighters. That's one of their main roles in their job. Is to protect the fighter. Both the ref and the corner.
Yeah. What sucks is that sometimes it seems like, especially now in this COVID time where there's less people in the corner, that maybe they have close personal friends or
your girlfriend cornering you.
Yeah, if your girlfriend's a fighter, or if your boyfriend's a fighter, then okay, fine. But Just some random girl you met, man. But yeah, I just maybe these people are too close to the people and don't want to make them angry. But I think your responsibility as a corner person, you got to think about it like as a manager, like of a job. Like you're not there to make your employees be friends with your employees. You're there to, do what you have to do with your employees. And with this, like my job isn't to be your friend. My job is to make sure that you can walk out of this octagon.
Yeah, man. I mean, that's a perfect world, and it just the lines are so blurred. I mean, you and your boy, Wonder Boy, has his dad in the corner. You know, that's got to be tough, man. You know, to be able to see your son take damage and when to stop it. And I mean, the son's always going to be like, you stopped it too soon. You know, I mean,
yeah,
you know what I mean. And I mean, it's difficult. It's a difficult job. That's why you got to make sure you have the right people in your corner, man. You have to have the right people that can shoulder that responsibility when you're taking a beating and it's not your night, and you don't need to take extra beating. You can live to fight another day. Throw in that towel and say, you know what, it wasn't yours, but we still got time to climb back to the top. You know?
Yeah, absolutely. You'll be angry in that moment, but I think you'll thank them in the end. But let's go ahead and get to the next fight, which is the submission, the first round submission from Maida Bueno Silva on Mara Romero Barella. And this is another one of those just stood in the wrong position for so long, man. Like was just allowed herself to stay in that position. It's not even like that she was stuck. It's just she was getting some hammer fist. Maybe she thought she was in a good position, and Silva was able to sneak in that armbar, and she tapped immediately.
Yeah, she tapped immediately. I was going to ask you, did it look like to you that Bueno Silva was a lot stronger than Barella? Because
I think so.
That's kind of what it looked like to me, man. And I felt once Barella felt her power and how strong she was, like I think she was out of it, and she tapped super fast, man. I don't think I've ever seen a woman tap that fast. You know, I tell you,
no, me neither.
That women are like Gumby, man. They'll have weird ligaments, man, and it takes them forever to land an armbar, and even then, like you look at somebody like Ronda Rousey, whenever she was getting armbars on people, she never tapped anybody like that fast. She had to fully extend and put her hips into it, and then they would tap. You know,
dude,
I think
look at when we talk about Marcos and Duran, like the amount of torque that was on that arm, or when we talk about Bektic, like
that's what I'm saying. Like that was a super fast tap. I'm hesitant to say, but maybe it was a way out for her because she felt the power and she was like, I don't want any part of this. You know,
for sure.
But it was super fast, man.
All right, go ahead. I have to actually use the restroom right now, but go ahead and talk about Bektic and Damon Jackson while I'm gone.
Man, so this was a very interesting lead up to the fight. Damon Jackson was coming off I think a couple wins in the local circuit, fighting a guy in Bektic who's had some recent wars, and he's also had some juice behind him, some push. The UFC wanted to push him, so he fought Dan Ige in February, and that was a really close fight that Dan Ige eked out. And then before that, he lost to Josh Emmett in a loss in 2019 in July. And before that, he had a win against Ricardo Lamas, who just recently had a big win and retired. And then he had another win against Godofredo Pepe, who's a veteran, in 2018. So, he's a really good fighter coming in against a guy making his debut. I don't think normally you put a guy in against a guy like Bektic that's making his debut. This was a last-minute kind of call-up kind of deal. Damien Jackson's a veteran. He was 17-3-1 coming into this fight, and Bektic was 13-3. Going into the first round, I mean, it just looked like coming out of the first round and going into the whole first round, it looked like Bektic, was gonna basically cruise to either at the very least a decision win, at the very worst for Jackson a knockout or something of that nature, maybe a submission, because he was getting in a lot of strikes, he was controlling, he was taking him down, and I mean he was hurting him. There was a couple of times where he hurt him, but Damon Jackson, I mean he showed a lot of grit, a lot of tenacity, a lot of um, experience to be able to take what Bektic was throwing at him and come out the other end. I mean, if you look at the numbers, and you just by numbers, if you say there was a guy who landed 76 of 102 total strikes and another guy who landed 20 out of 34 strikes, who would you think would be the winner? And I would always say, obviously, the one who landed more. But in this instance, it wasn't. And part of that was every time it would be taken down, Damon Jackson was working on something, some form of submission or something. Bektic for the first 2 rounds just had enough energy, enough power to muscle his way out of whatever he was caught in, or to be slick enough to get out of it. But by the 3rd round, you can see that Bektic was tired. He was sucking a lot of air in between the round and when he was fighting. And even when he got caught, I think it was a rear naked. When he got caught, you can see him, right before Jackson sunk it in, he took a deep breath, like he was gasping for air already. And then when somebody who's your size, as strong as you, wraps their arms around you, around your neck, and puts the squeeze on, I mean that's tough, man. That's tough to get out of, especially when you have no more energy because you used it all in the first 2 rounds. So he tapped. So this was a huge win for Damon Jackson. I mean, I can't understate how big of a win this was for Damon Jackson. Bektic is a well-respected fighter, up-and-coming fighter, fighter who has a bright future in the UFC in that division of featherweight. And Damon Jackson just came in and stole all his thunder, stole all his pedigree, and just took it upon himself. And he's also, very well spoken. Damon Jackson is. They asked him some questions at the end of the night in the post-fight interview. They not inside of the ring, but outside whenever the press gets to ask some more questions. And they said, they asked him some things about why he doesn't have any social media. So apparently David Jackson doesn't have any sort of social media, and he attributes it to a bad interaction with a so-called fan that he had about 5 or 6 years ago, where he lost a fight and a guy came and said, "Why don't you kill yourself?" or something of that nature. And he said he just didn't need that. He just doesn't need that negative energy. He attributed to social media. So he deleted all his social media, doesn't have any social media, and it's worked for him. He gets to focus on what he needs to focus on, which is the fight game. And now he's at a position where he just beat a big guy in the UFC, and he's going to have big fights going forward in a pretty stacked division. But I mean, given that this was last minute for him, he didn't look the greatest on the feet. He wasn't able to stop a lot of the takedowns, but that's where he wants to fight on the ground. He has a decent record. He's 18-3-1, so only 3 losses to his name. So he's an interesting name to put in the featherweight division, and he's going to get some shots because of the way he won and how he won, what he was able to do against Bektic. So it was a really great fight. I don't know. I think Alex said it was a fight of the night, or a performance of the night bonus. I'm not sure. But either way, it was a great performance by Damon Jackson. Not that great for Bektic. Bektic goes back to the drawing board. He had this fight, man. He had 2 rounds in the bank. He just needed to get out of the 3rd, and he wasn't able to do that. So he gassed. He needs to figure out what he did wrong, that he gassed. He had a full camp. Damon Jackson didn't. It's a big loss for him. He's going to go tumbling down. I don't think he was even ranked. I'm not sure. But like I mentioned, he was a prospect. So this really hurts him, man. This really hurts him going forward. He's going to get some more bottom tier, maybe newcomers again, now that he's lost to Ige and Damon Jackson. I don't think he's going to get cut just because, like I said, he had a lot of momentum behind him. Even with the loss to Ige, that loss to Ige was a big 3-round decision that probably could have gone either way. And it was a war. So he does take a big hit. Bektic does on his reputation and his status going forward. But like I said, I don't think he's going to get cut.
So sorry about that. That was extremely unprofessional of me. I'm assuming you're still talking about Bektic and Damon Jackson.
Yeah, I was just wrapping it up.
Yeah, all I have to say is that dude's arm is made of elastic. That was nasty.
He didn't tap.
Yeah, he didn't tap. I mean, there he did eventually tap. But what I wanted to know was, what did he say? What did Damon Jackson say to him at the end? Why was he so angry?
I don't know. I didn't see why. I think they did ask him that, and I have to go back and look what the answer was. But like, I don't know if you were hearing me when I was talking, but I was more interested in that Damon Jackson doesn't have any social media at all. And when they asked him why, because about 5 or 6 years ago, some troll after a loss said, "Why don't you kill yourself or something?" You know.
Oh, wow.
And so at that point, he was like, "This is ridiculous. I don't need this. You know,
Yeah.
I have enough stuff to worry about." So he deleted everything: Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, you name it. He deleted it, and he says now that's worked out for him because he gets to focus on the fight game.
Good for him.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So that's what I was focused on. I'll go back and listen to it, and then I'll have an update for you next week on what he told Mirsad Bektic. I'm assuming it was something like "I told you so," or you know, I don't see you talking mess now because Bektic was talking mess before this fight.
Yeah.
So
and they made it clear. They made it a point, you know, to mention multiple times that it was like a 7. What was it? Sweet 3-day notice or something like that.
Yeah, it was last minute notice for Damon Jackson.
Yeah.
To step in and fight him. So big win for him, man.
Yeah. All right, let's go to the feature prelim flyweight. Not much talk about this one except man, those leg kicks from Dvorak on Espinoza.
There were some heavy leg kicks, man. There were some heavy leg kicks. I almost thought we were gonna get a leg kick to KO on this fight.
I did too, man.
That would have been sweet.
They even showed like where Jordan Espinoza had to tell his corner like exactly where to put the ice pack because his leg was hurting so much, which is crazy.
Yeah, man. I mean, for a flyweight, man, like there are some heavy leg kicks for a flyweight, man. I haven't seen anybody do leg kicks at that division like Dvorak did, man.
Yeah, it was nasty, but good win for Dvorak, and I don't think Jordan Espinoza. It just seemed like he just couldn't get around, couldn't get into the pocket against Dvorak, and it was probably mostly because of those leg kicks.
Man, I mean, like your legs are longer than your arms, and if you can have a good strong leg kick, you're gonna keep your opponent at bay. It's honestly better than a jab if you think about it, because it does way more damage than the jab does. It's a very underutilized technique in MMA.
Yeah, for sure. All right, man. Let's get to the first fight on the main card, which is Kevin Holland versus Darren Stewart. And this was a hell of a fight, man. These two guys were throwing bombs.
And from the start,
yeah.
Bombs, man. So, yeah, man, it was a good fight. Very well matched, very similar skill set, I guess you could say. I don't know, man. What do you think? What do you think of the fight?
It's weird. I guess maybe I didn't pay close enough attention to the second round, or I guess maybe the first round, because I called it. I think the first round I called it in Stewart's favor. I called it Stewart. Second round I give it to Holland, and the third round I gave to Stewart. That's what I mean. I can understand a split decision. I think I just leaned more Stewart. I think Stewart did more in the first round. That second round, he seemed to lay off the gas, and even at the end of the third round, Kevin Holland was apologizing to Stewart because he kind of gassed out at the end.
Yeah, I mean, Holland landed 70 more strikes than him, and he threw about 60 more strikes than him, so he had a better accuracy rate. But Stewart did have 3 out of 8 takedowns, and so how do you score those takedowns? You know, and were they a big dictator of how the fight ended or how the fight went, as opposed to going in the opposite direction, and how would that have turned out? So I don't know, man. I think I agree with you. I think I remember scoring the first for Stewart as well, but. Yeah, I guess I did score for Stewart. I got to go back and watch it, man. I was trying to remember. Yeah. I know, but maybe I guess why I'm having trouble with it is because didn't one of the commentators say something about a 10-8 round, or that could have been a 10-8 round or something dumb like that. Maybe
and that would explain it. like how that would happen. But I don't know. I guess a couple of split decisions here, man. It's crazy. But and I'm not going to argue with either split decision.
I mean, they were so
both
close.
extremely close.
It wasn't a robbery. It wasn't a robbery either way. I mean,
yeah.
Stewart would have won. We probably would have been like, man, it was a good fight for Stewart. And Holland won. I mean, he definitely outlanded him. We can say that much.
Yeah, and I mean, I would love to see these guys fight again. Honestly, that'd be a crazy fight.
Yeah, I think that would be a good fight. I think maybe both of them will learn so much from this fight that we see a completely different fight in the second fight.
Especially in the third round. I don't think Holland will gas out in the third round if he gets in a shot.
I agree. I think he'd be ready.
All right, let's get to your girl. Strawweight performance of the night. Mackenzie Dern submitting Randa Marcos in 3 minutes and 44 seconds. Your girl. My girl got to win. Your girl got to win. It's great. All around.
Yeah, man. I mean, she did what she does. She took to the ground, got a submission. You talked about how much torque she had to put on Randa Marcos. Randa Marcos was coming in with a little bit of a juice as well, too, right? Didn't she have a couple wins or no?
No, she just lost recently, man. She just lost recently. But she's looking for this win, but
she had beat Yoder. That's what I was thinking of.
There you go. My only question is because Marcos went for the takedown. Why?
I don't know, man.
That's the last place he won Dern at.
Well, I think a lot of fighters who don't have a great jiu-jitsu background panic. And I'm not saying she panicked. I'm saying they panic from a game plan standpoint. And they'll say this statement: she's not expecting, or they're not expecting me to take them down and put, so I'm going to give them something they don't expect and try to put them on their heels.
That's where they want to go.
That's exactly where they want to go. They're going to say for a split second, oh, she's taking me down. Okay, great. Now I don't have to take this person down.
Yeah.
Sweep them, get on top or I can get a submission from the bottom.
There was literally a fight that Dern had where she couldn't take her opponent down and she lost the fight.
Exactly.
Come on, this is ridiculous because she doesn't have great wrestling. She has a great jiu-jitsu background. And I agree with I think it was Dominic. It was either Cruz or Felder would say I could watch her grapple all night.
Yep,
I agree.
Yep, and that's the thing, man. It's that I'm telling you, dude. You'll see more fights going forward with jiu-jitsu guys, and you're just gonna start seeing why did they take him down? Why did they take him down? Because they have that little panic, like he's not gonna think I'm gonna take him down. Let me take him down and get him off his game. That doesn't work, man.
Counter wrestling, man.
Maybe that worked one time, like 15 years ago, when people weren't ready, but and it became a thing or something amongst coaching circles.
It has to have.
But no, dude, and I'm telling you, dude, I think that's what it was because Marcos does not have a good ground game, and she was just like, okay, well, let me take her down and get on top of her and beat her up a little bit, and nope, it ended up costing me the fight.
And she actually came on. I think she apologized to fans and stuff. Was like, that was dumb, basically. And it is, but I mean, I think Marcos, she's safe. She's not going to get cut anytime soon.
No, they need all the women fighters they can at this point.
Oh yeah. If you're cutting women fighters besides Petra Correa, you have a problem. I'm just kidding. I just like giving her shit. I just like giving her shit because of that whole turn around before the fucking round was over. I'll never let that go. That'll always live inside my mind.
She's in her own world.
I love it, man. She's honestly, I like Correa. She's a character.
I feel like I feel like this is so disrespectful, but she's like comedic relief almost, I hate saying it, but okay.
That's the part, she's got nice wins.
Well, yeah, she has good wins, but the losses she has, that loss against Holly Holm, where she told her come on, and then right after that, Holly Holm knocks her out.
Yeah, bonehead.
Literally right after that, it's oh man, crazy.
It's funny. It's funny. She's great. But a good win from Mackenzie Dern. I don't believe she's ranked, but oh yeah, she is. So she's ranked number 15. So she's finally cracked the top 15. We'll see where she goes after this. I hope she's been working on her wrestling. But I mean, hey, if all the people that she fights are going to take her down, then she doesn't need to worry about that.
Yeah, I mean, like my boy said that I was talking to, hope she works on her fake accent as well.
Oh my God, I don't even watch any interviews with her. I don't like it. It bothers me. It really does. It's just you don't have an accent. You're from America, you're from the United States, and you're speaking with a Portuguese accent. It's ridiculous. Just because your husband's Portuguese doesn't mean you are.
You leave her alone. You leave her
That's
alone.
not how accents work.
Well, there's no osmosis there. There's no osmosis.
No. That's like from birth. Like you got to be living in that area from birth to adopt that accent. I don't think she realizes that. It's okay. We'll leave her alone as long as she's winning.
As long as the W's keep winning the dubs.
Yeah, who cares? All right, next up, we got light heavyweight. Your man, Johnny Walker, taking on Ryan Spann. And the same thing almost happened to Johnny Walker in this fight. He almost got knocked out cold.
Oh, man, this is
another example of keeping your head in a position that it should not be, this time with elbows.
With elbows coming from the top, man. You know, a couple of things in this fight, man. This fight was really good while it lasted. You know,
yeah,
2 minutes and 43 seconds of.
They almost Rocky and Apollo Creed each other.
Yeah, man, like, you're not the first person. You're not the first person that said that, man. It's crazy. It was such a good fight, going back and forth. These guys, you know, were coming after it. They weren't scared of each other, like not in a bad way. Like they respected each other, but they knew what they were there to do. You know, and dude, Johnny Walker almost got knocked out, man. I was like, oh man, this is another. This is another, you know, tumble down the ladder for this guy. And then Ryan Spann makes a mistake and tries to take him down. And the thing about it too is, and I gotta see this again, maybe from this fight and other fights, but Johnny Walker is so tall. I think he's like 6'5", and the angle that he's able to get on these elbows to knock somebody out from that position is, and I think all the guys have. That's what I'm saying. All the guys that have done that have been tall.
Yeah.
If you're shorter, you can't like really get power. Yeah, you can't really get that much power, but because he's so tall, he can lean over and create more distance. And you know, that made a big difference. And it knocks Spann out, man. And Spann's gonna be, you know, I'm sure he is, and I'm sure he did already beat himself up for it because he had this one in the bag. His power was hurting, you know, Johnny Walker, and if he just didn't leave his head there and was a little bit more aware of what he was doing, he probably could have got this fight.
Yeah, and you know, kudos to Johnny Walker for not panicking in that situation. Other fighters would have panicked in that situation or done something like, or panic wrestled after getting rocked like that. But, you know, he went in there and kept it up and was able to get the smart decision. It wasn't pretty by any means. It was one of those gritty, let me just elbow this dude until he can't get up anymore. And at first there was a moment where I thought he was out, but then he started wrestling again and almost got him back down. And he got him back down, but then those elbows just kept raining down, man.
Dude, and it's so frustrating because it's like you said, it looked like he was out, but I don't think he was out. I think he was more like I don't know, like
settle.
Yeah, like no, like these elbows don't hurt. I'm fine. Let me keep working for this. And then boom, you know, the real ones came, and too late, you know. And that's the thing, you can't get comfortable in there, man. If somebody's hitting you and maybe the first two don't hurt, don't let them get three on you, man, because that third one might be the one that puts you out, you know. And it's just it just sucks, man, because I know what he was doing, man. He had him rocked, he takes him down, and it's over because he's gonna ground and pound him, you know. But you didn't take him down. You couldn't take him down. He was sprawling even though he was hurt, and at that point you should have either clinched up with him, made him, you know, carry your body weight around a little bit more, gotten him more tired, put some more blood into his arm so he can't throw as fast, and drag this out into deep water and see what happens. And instead, you gave him the easy way out. You put your head right there. You didn't move it. You let him adjust, and you got knocked out.
Yep. Yeah, for sure, man. All right, honestly, this next fight, I don't think there's really much else to say except get this man in top 15 fighter.
Oh my God.
Get him.
Oh my God.
Give it to him. Give him a gatekeeper. Let me go. Is he always at middleweight, or is he normally a welterweight that fought at middleweight?
He's a welterweight that fought at middleweight, but he can fight at both supposedly. I don't know, man. He's called out. So real quick, man, you know, the guy we're talking about is Khamzat Chimaev.
Chimaev.
He now holds a record for fastest to, I think, 2 wins or 3 wins. 3 wins?
3 wins, because he's got 3 in he's got 3 in a row now. Very all in the span of 2 months?
66 days.
Yeah.
So 66 days. And he has the record by a long shot. I think Johnny Walker's up there, and his is 109 days or something like that. So you got to give him credit for that. These are UFC level fighters. Gerard Meerschaert, like I mentioned to you in last week, he's frustrating, man. He's frustrating. He has a lot of tools. He's a good fighter, and he just doesn't show up to big fights, man. And this was one of the worst showings I've seen from him.
Cold, another one.
Straight punch, straight right punch down the pipe. Didn't block it. Blocked it with his chin. Knocked him out cold. It is what it is. He tweeted later. Meerschaert did that. He was sorry, and that sucked or something. Which great. You could take a loss, but you need to work on that, man. Because this fight should have been a fight, and it really wasn't. But everybody's crowning this guy, Chimaev, 9-0.
Whoa! No one. At least no one here is crowning him. That's why I said I want him. I want to get him the number 15 guy.
Hey man, why are you so defensive? I didn't say you were crowning him. I said everyone.
I'm just saying. I'm included in everyone. No, I'm just kidding. I was one of the ones that said, "Hey guys, let's calm down." I still want to see him pushed.
Yeah, he hasn't been pushed. I don't know why his record's showing 9-0 here on Google. But he's not 9-0. He has a knockout loss. I think one of his first 2 or 3 fights he got knocked out.
Google with your fake news.
I'm gonna look it up and I'm gonna send it to you and probably put it on our Twitter page as well. But he's good, man. He's good. He's exciting. Anytime you get a good, young, exciting fighter, you want to see more of him. And he's been doing what he said he's been doing. He's knocking people out. He's getting wins. He can fight at 170, but it really feels like he wants to fight Damian Maia. He called him out after the fight. He's called him out on Twitter. He's called him out anytime he gets in front of a microphone. He really wants Damian Maia. I think he sees it as an easy win, an easy way to get into the top of the division at 170, to beat an aging Damian Maia that can strike with him for sure and probably can't wrestle with him and can only beat him through jiu-jitsu. But it would be a challenge. So I'm not mad at that fight. If they make that fight, I'll be happy with it. But it's just interesting that he's so, adamant about fighting Damian Maia. He better beat him because that's how adamant he is about facing him.
Calm down, Chimaev. Calm down. Damian Maia is ranked number 6. You haven't earned it yet. In my opinion, you haven't earned it yet. I don't believe that, man. I believe you gotta work your way up the ladder, man. Honestly, that's the way I feel. GM3 is known as a one. It's a whole different division. It's always hard for me to. It's always hard for me whenever you're trying to do the whole 2 division thing, because you're you beat this guy in this division, but that doesn't necessarily equate to this division. You know what I'm saying?
It's apples to oranges, but it's still tough, dude. 2 divisions.
Absolutely. I will never say oh, you're what you're doing is easy. No. I'm just saying you can't equate. Each win in 2 different divisions can always be measured the same. And this one, I don't know, man. GM3 is just, like you said, frustrating. I think he's got all the tools in the world to do it, to be successful, and he just doesn't. But so I'm looking at the rankings. I had 15 and 15 on each side. So 15 at welterweight is Robbie Lawler, and then you got 15 at middleweight is Jan Heinisch. Tell me you wouldn't want to see one of those.
Not Robbie Lawler. I don't think that Robbie Lawler can beat Chimaev now. That's tough saying that because Robbie Lawler's a beast. But it's just the last couple of fights that I've seen from Lawler, not enough output. He's hesitant to throw, and Chimaev is a lot faster than him. And when he fought Tyron Woodley was a lot faster than him, and that's what beat him. The speed killed the power at that point.
Okay.
So I would want to see that fight. Now that's a fight I would want to see. Heinisch is good. He's a wrestler. He's strong. He's game. In other words, he's not gonna punk out. He's not gonna be oh, this guy's a world beater. He's just gonna be let's go. Let's see who's the better man. Mm-hmm. And also Heinisch has a win over Meerschaert as well.
There you go.
So, there you go.
Got something in common, guys. But yeah, I think he deserves a top 15 guy.
Well, I'm telling you right now, they're not going to give him 15. They're going to give him 10 or something, or they're going to give him somewhere where if he wins, they can boost him in the top 5 right away to kind of boost
Yeah.
his star power that is rising. I mean, it just look at what they did with Connor. You know, like whenever somebody's like that, they put them in positions to, if they win, they can shoot them up the top because they're very popular right now. They want to cash in
Strike
on.
while the iron's hot.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Well, he got the final performance of the night. I also forgot to mention that Mackenzie Dern also got performance of the night, so she went home with $50,000, and so did Chimaev. So, what is this, like his third or second one?
Who's?
Chimaev.
Yeah, that last fight where he got a knockout, it was the first one.
So he's got $100,000 already this year
in 66 days, in less than 66 days.
Good for you, man. Good for you. not gonna like approve of the company you keep, but hey, good for you.
Exactly.
Next up, man, co-main event. Last one we're gonna talk about on this card. Donald Cerrone and Nico Price. Only thing I want to say about this, man, is a great fight. I think both guys look great. It sucks whenever I think I had Cerrone winning second and third round. So that's why I was like the draw was a little weird, but it is what it is. Because I think Nico blew his gas out, blew his gas tank on the first round. Because and I think Dominic Cruz mentioned it. Donald Cerrone is known for being a late starter, so finish him in the first round. The problem is Donald Cerrone don't get finished in the first round.
Dude, Nico Price, beat the brakes off of Donald Cerrone for like the first 2 minutes of the fight, man. And I was just like, my goodness, because look, I like Donald Cerrone, and I'll say this, I didn't get a chance to send this to you because of the Covington stuff, but there are some allegations with Cerrone going around right now that Bobby Green brought up at MMAfighting.com with Ariel Hawani, specifically talking about Cerrone making racist comments towards Bobby Green.
Wow.
And then also Cerrone unwantingly groping women at a convention that Bobby Green was at. So I won't say too much about it because I want to get more information from it. From what I understand, Cerrone's responded and he didn't deny the allegation. So that's going to be something that we may be talking about next Monday. I'm not sure we're going to talk about what days. But I've always been a Cerrone fan. Obviously, this might change it, but let's say I haven't changed yet. Cerrone's a veteran. He'll fight whoever they put in front of him. But he's a notoriously late starter, man. It's things that they've said that if he could just start on time, he could probably be a champion because he always gives up the first round. He's always fighting from the hole. He's the guy that they say, you need to crack him once to wake him up, basically. So he needs to get punched in the face.
That's exactly what Dominic Cruz said, because I think they said that Nico Price threw like 50-something or 60-something strikes and landed 49 of them. Yeah, and Dominic Cruz is like, that's about how many punches it takes to wake up Cerrone.
Dude, it was amazing, man, because you can tell Cerrone's chin is not what it used to be because he was getting hit by some stuff that wouldn't probably normally hurt him.
Yeah.
But he's still game. He's still experienced. He was doing little things to get out of danger and duck and in certain ways and still trying to set up some punches and things of that nature just to get himself out of danger and get himself out of that round because, man, Price came out like a madman, man, really. Like, and
anybody else, he probably knocks him out early.
Yeah, and it cost him because he didn't knock him out and he got tired, man, because he threw so much in that first round. The rest of the fight was a labor, basically. But I don't know, man. This is one of those fights where both of the guys came to fight. They wanted to put on a show. They're not scared to lose or get knocked out. And it gave the fans a great fight, man.
Honestly, I just don't – it's a great fight, man, but I don't want to see Donald get beat like that in the first round anymore. It's uncomfortable.
Yeah, I don't want to see it. On top of that, man, I've told you, I think one of the worst results, especially in wars like this, is a draw.
Yeah, did it for nothing.
Yeah, dude, you did it for nothing. You got beat up. You came back. You almost went for nothing because it goes as a draw on your record. Nico Price was stoked about it. I can understand his excitement about it because he reveres Donald Cerrone. He looked up to him at one point.
It seemed like, I can hang.
Not only that, but I didn't beat him. Like I didn't you know what I'm saying? Like I don't know how to explain it. Like I didn't send him to retirement. Yeah, I didn't embarrass him. It was a great fight. I gave people a great fight. We went back and forth, and I didn't beat him, and he didn't beat me. So maybe that's where he's coming from. But Cerrone, you could tell he was upset. He was mad. I think he thinks he won the last 2 rounds.
I think the same thing.
And maybe that first round was so bad it was a 10-8, and that's why it's a draw.
Yeah.
Because it was pretty bad, man. I mean, it was pretty bad there for a while. Like I didn't think he was gonna get out that round for a while.
Yeah, me neither, man. But I think the thing about Nico, man, I think Nico is gonna be that guy who just kind of he's always gonna be that. He's gonna be that guy that's gonna give you a great fight, but I don't know if he has enough to make it to the top of the mountain.
Yeah, I think he's limited on a couple of things. I've also seen him go up against big name fighters and kind of not perform to his best. He got knocked out by Luque in a great fight earlier this year. He beat James Vick. He lost to Jeff Neal, but everybody loses to Jeff Neal right now. He beat Tim Mean, so he's alternating wins and losses.
Yeah.
He lost to Abdul Razak Al Hassan, beat Randy Brown. I mean, he's just alternating wins and losses since 2018, man.
Yeah. So I think he's just gonna be that guy. Like you just call upon if you know that you need a good fight for that card, you can call on Nico. Which you know what? That's nothing. That's nothing to hang your hat about.
No,
if you want to be known as a fighter, this is great.
Yeah, and the thing about it is that he's never out of it. He's never like he has power. He has knockout power. We've seen him knock out people from weird positions as well. And he's never like overmatched, like where you're like, oh man, this guy shouldn't be in there with him. Like he's a professional. He's been around a while now, so he's a veteran. And I don't know, maybe he'll put in a late career surge like Masvidal did at some point. Yeah. I'm not saying that he doesn't have that in him, because he does. He certainly has all the skills, but right now he's just you're either your gatekeeper or your journeyman.
Yeah, for sure. All right, man. Well, that's the end of the card. A great fight card, and really just it's kind of like a an appetizer for what we're about to get this weekend, because I think this weekend is gonna be crazy. So I'm just gonna look over the card real quick. Nothing on the early prelims we really need to talk about, and honestly, the only thing I can see that I would want to talk about is William Knight, who won his contract this season on the season. I think it was his third opportunity on the Dana White Contender Series. He's going to be fighting Alexa Camure.
So real quick, we'll talk about this fight, but there's a fight on the early prelims I want to talk about real quick. But yes, okay. William Knight just fought. He won. It was a tough fight, right? That he won.
Yeah, well, it looked tough, and I think in the second round he was able to get the TKO.
Get the TKO. Very well spoken guy. When he's talking to Laura Sanko, you want to root for this guy. Again, he came in. It took him how many times to get it? Twice.
Yeah. No, I think it was his third, or was it that might have been somebody else? But there was, it was multiple times basically.
Yeah. So I mean, and that's the beauty of the Contender Series, man. Is I want William Knight to win. I'm gonna be rooting for him. I don't know too much about Alexa Camure, but he's undefeated at light heavyweight. But I want to see William Knight win. So that's definitely something that adds interest to the prelims, is the Dana White Contender Series fighters. Real quick,
what's the one you want to talk about?
The one I want to talk about is the heavyweight Juan Espino versus Jeff Hughes. Juan Espino is 10-1, and Juan Espino won the Ultimate Fighter. I don't remember what season it is, but it was a heavyweight season. This guy is so talented, man, from a jiu-jitsu standpoint, from a fight IQ standpoint. He wasn't supposed to win it, but he just has a lot of heart and grit, and he's very good at jiu-jitsu, which is crazy for a heavyweight as well. He's a little bit older, which I think the UFC didn't want him to win. I don't know if he's fought since then. He's 10-1. Let me see. He last fought November 30th, in 2018, the Tough 28 finale, and he won by submission in the first round. That's the last time he's fought. So you're talking about almost a 2-year hiatus for an Ultimate Fighter winner that hasn't been able to fight. That's what I'm saying. So when he won, I was like, man, this might be something in the heavyweight division, new blood, fresh blood, and he hasn't fought since then. So It's very interesting. They're sneaking him in on the early prelim of a big pay-per-view card against a guy who's 10-3 with 1-0 contest. So I'm very interested to see that fight. He's
All
30.
right, man.
He's 39 years old. He won the Ultimate Fighter at 37 years old, dude. So that's what I'm
Yeah,
telling you.
man. All right. Well, we'll see how that goes. Just some highlights. We're gonna have Sajara Eubanks is gonna be jumping back in the octagon on a short a short turnaround against Caitlin Vejera.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like so. We'll see how that goes. We got Kai Kara France versus Brandon Royval, number 7 versus number 9 in the flyweight division. So big time for this division. We'll see basically who's going to be jumping to the top of that division.
Yeah, remember Brandon Royval is the one who was able to quit his job because he got a performance of the night bonus.
That's right.
So I think that a couple of things. One, he was at the top of the division, the top of this sport in the UFC, and he was still, doing that even though he had another job. So how good can he be now that he gets to focus 100% on his craft? So I'm very interested in that fight, man.
Definitely. And then we got the 2 title fights. So the first one we have is for the vacant light heavyweight title fight. The uncrowned champ Dominic Reyes taking on Jan Blachowicz. And I think we both know where we're going with this one.
Yeah, man. I think Dominic Reyes is like I mentioned to you, the uncrowned champ, the 3rd uncrowned champ in a row. Well, no, was it 3rd? It was Thiago Santos. We thought beat John Jones. We didn't think Anthony Smith beat him, but we think Dom Reyes beat him.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's closer to me than this Thiago Santos one.
You know what? That's an interesting thing, man. I'm gonna go back and watch those 2 fights. I scored it for Dominic Reyes on fight night. I scored it for him on a rewatch as well. He just did more. He just did more, in my opinion, and he should have won that fight. He didn't. He didn't win that fight. So that was his first loss. Again, maybe that helps him learn how to lose. And he's just, I think, right now at the top of his game, the top of the division, and Blachowicz is not. Blachowicz is coming off of a win over Luke Rockhold, and then knocking out Corey Anderson, who had a horrible game plan against him.
I'm gonna stand with this guy.
Yeah, I'm gonna stand with him when I can take him down whenever I want. So I just think that Dominic Reyes is too smart, too fast, too cerebral, and he's just gonna pick Blachowicz apart, man. He might get a knockout in this one.
I agree. All right, next up, middleweight title fight. Adesanya versus Costa, the battle of the unbeatens. Who you got, man?
This is a big fight, like you said, battle of the unbeatens. 2 different fighters, like fight plans. You got one guy who he says, I don't miss. It's all about precision. Everyone has speed. Everyone has power. I have precision. I don't miss, and he's been right so far. He's had some big fights where, the Rob Whittaker fight made him look like nothing, and now we know Whittaker is not a scrub and Whittaker is not washed, And then against Kelvin Gastelum, which is probably his best fight, his best win, even though Gastelum's been losing. But just that fight was so well matched and so close, and just how he won that fight. And you look at Costa. Costa's come up on some, smaller guys. He beat up Hendricks to make his name, and Hendricks was a 170-pound champion, and they forced him to move to 185 because he couldn't make weight anymore. And Paulo Costa just dominated him because he looked like he was 2 divisions above him. And then he fought Romero in a weird fight that Romero loves to put on weird fights now, I guess. But he's just a big dude who's going to come forward and try to knock you out. He's going to try to knock your block off. And he has the power to do so. But Adesanya said a couple interesting things. He said, everyone has power at this point. So if it takes, a 3 to knock you out and you have 7 or 8 or 9 or 10, what does it matter if you only need 3 to get knocked out? So his point being that he's not going to get touched enough to get knocked out. And he still has enough power to knock out Costa. The thing that I Where's it at? It's at the Flash Forum. Oh, so it's in Abu Dhabi, right?
It's in Abu Dhabi. It's a Fight Island.
So it's a big octagon. If it's a
regular size.
If it's a regular size octagon, that actually helps Adesanya. If it was a smaller octagon at Apex, it would help Costa. I don't know, man. Right now, I'm kind of leaning Adesanya. I feel like Adesanya has a clear path to victory, but Costa has so much power, so much pressure, and he can knock you out like to the head, and he can probably knock you out to the body. Just how hard he throws for that division, man. But right now, I'm picking Adesanya right now.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Adesanya as well. I think he has a lot to prove after his first defense against Yoel Romero, an embarrassing fight. Not because he got beat, but because it's just he didn't fight. He didn't go there to fight. He went there to win. And the thing is, Paulo Costa's not gonna let you do that. Paulo Costa is gonna make you fight, and I think that Adesanya's game. I 100% think that Adesanya is game. I don't think the fight against Yoel is not. That's the exception. It's not the rule. So I think I'm gonna go with Adesanya. I don't. Obviously, I think Paulo Costa has every opportunity to knock out Adesanya. I think he has the power to. I just think that maybe Adesanya will have the technical ability to be able to avoid the punches and be able to throw his own. I don't know if this is a finish. It might be, but it could also go 5.
Man, I've never seen Costa go 5. I don't know if he can go 5. And the only reason I say that is because he's so big, man. He's so big. All that bulk needs oxygen. And I don't know if he gets taken to deep water. Maybe that's Adesanya's game too. We got to remember too that in this fight, Adesanya is the more polished striker. So he has a karate background, not a karate, kickboxing background. Kickboxing background. So it's gonna be on Costa to create pressure and to put him in positions to land those big punches. And we'll see. And the thing is, Adesanya has shown, and this is what I'll say too. Romero couldn't hit Adesanya. He's too slow.
Yeah.
Gastelum was able to piece up Adesanya because Gastelum is fast.
Yeah.
He's a natural 170-pounder fighting at 185, and he's left-handed. So those two combinations made it easier for him to touch Adesanya where I don't think nobody's touched him like that. I don't think anybody's touched Adesanya like that.
Not that I've seen.
Costa doesn't have that. Costa doesn't have that speed. So I don't think he's going to be able to touch him. But again, it's power, it's pressure. Will Adesanya, step up to the plate and step up to the magnitude of this fight and not put on a dud and put on a show? Because every champion needs a dance partner, and this fight has been simmering for a while. So I'm really excited to see this fight.
Yeah, I mean, personally, there's no bigger killer than expectations. Expectations can either destroy you or they can build you up. And I think that after that first fight, because of expectation after that fight against UL, everyone was so sour on Adesanya. As I said, that's not the rule. That's the exception. So I think we're going to see the rule happen.
Yeah, this is a legacy fight, man. This is a legacy. This is going to make or break Adesanya, man, because he has some good wins, but he also has that dud against Romero, and he needs this just as much as Paulo Costa does,
Absolutely. All right, man. That's all the UFC we have for you today. Let's jump into the NFL.
Oh, yes.
Some crazy games this past weekend. I hit on a lot. You're looking at your new champion for the week.
Oh, my God.
Yes, enjoy it. Soak it in. The champ is here. But let's look at it from top to bottom. The Browns and Bengals game, man. It's just I feel so bad for Burrow, dude, because he's so good, and that defense cannot back him up. They were giving up everything. They were giving everything up to Nick Chubb. Just said, "Here, have these yards." Oh, you need 20 yards? Sure.
But dude, who was the other running back? Kareem Hunt, right?
Kareem Hunt, yeah.
Dude, it was thunder and lightning, man, because Kareem Hunt had a game too, man. Like they could not stop him to save their life. Like
made it easy for Baker.
They were like, "Who's back there, Chubb or Hunt? It doesn't matter. He's gonna get 10 yards on us."
Yeah, man, it was bad. So I feel so bad for Burrow because he played a hell of a game, dude.
Yeah.
He put up 30. Like that's crazy.
I mean, normally that's enough to win in the NFL, man.
I know, man, it really is. But all right, moving on to the first of many injuries. Saquon Barkley goes down in the game against the Bears. They're down early. Saquon goes down, and the Giants make a comeback, almost win the whole game. I think honestly, it's a matter of time before these guys get a win under their belts. Like they've hung around in both games and just can't quite pull it out. I think I think Daniel Jones had a really good game against the Pittsburgh Steelers until they got into the red zone. And if he can just not turn the ball over in the red zone, he's going to be a good quarterback.
Yeah, man, it's those growing pains, you know.
Mhm.
It's those growing pains. It's rare whenever first or second year quarterbacks have make good decisions, you know, because they haven't seen everything. They haven't seen all the defenses. They haven't seen all the intricacies of what an NFL defensive coordinator can do to them in certain spots against certain personnel. But you're right, man. He's growing, he's learning, and they're getting better. It just sucks that Barkley's gone for the year, ACL tear. So it just sucks that they're not going to have a workhorse like him to kind of help. What's his name? Daniel Jones with the offense. Because I mean, dude, that guy's a workhorse, man, and he can get you 3-4 yards in a pinch, So they're not going to have that. So they're going to have to figure out a way. And they did well. Like you said, they came back on this one, but they weren't able to pull out the win.
Yeah, and it's like too because the word going out, the words that they're saying is his knee exploded, which is not good for a running back, man.
Not good for
not what you want to hear.
Yeah, not good for long term, man. Especially, I'm assuming
they're not all Adrian Peterson.
Yeah, exactly. I'm assuming it was like, probably both ligaments.
A full knee blowout.
Yeah, dude, they're gonna have to do a whole reconstruction. So he's probably gonna be out more than a year, man. Honestly.
Yeah, I think so. Probably a full calendar year plus some extra time.
Yeah,
he'll probably start next year on the IR and then come in about like week 8.
Yeah, probably. That sounds about right. A year and a half, probably.
Yeah. So next up, the biggest collapse I think ever in the first 2 games. Rams destroying the Eagles. The Eagles look unrecognizable. That they don't look like they won the division last year. Carson Wentz seems to be trying to do, because last year it took him to do too much to put the team on his back because they were ravaged by injuries, but they're not ravaged by injuries anymore, and he's still doing things that he shouldn't be doing.
Yeah, but man, I mean, at the same time, what about the Rams, man? I mean,
dude, just like I said, the Eagles look unrecognizable. The Rams look unrecognizable because they looked like trash last year, and now all of a sudden they're 2-0 in the league, tied for first place with the Arizona Cardinals of all teams and the Seattle Seahawks, with 2-0. Like I told you, this is going to be the division that was probably the most competitive division, and it's turning out to be like that because the Rams of all teams, because I think the 49ers are going to have a little bit of a drop off with the way they were ravaged by injuries. I think the Rams are going to be competing with the Seahawks and the at least competing with the Cardinals. Probably not with the Seahawks. And the Seahawks probably top 3 teams in the NBA and in the NFL. But we'll get there when we talk about it.
Yeah, man. I mean, this is one of those. I don't know, the teams that were on Hard Knocks, like I mentioned, you always have high hopes and high expectations, but they're playing well, man. They're playing well. Like you said, they're going to compete. I don't think they're there yet. Like they're not the cream of the crop yet. It was too early to find out and to know.
No, yeah.
But they played very well, man. They played very well, and they're definitely a team to look out for going forward.
And they took advantage of a struggling team, and that's what you're supposed to do when you see a team that's struggling like that. You're supposed to take advantage and jump on them, and that's exactly what the Rams did. They didn't play with their food. They jumped. They went in there and they took care of business.
Exactly, man. They didn't play down to the level of their competition. They said, "This is our game. This is what we're gonna do. Let's run away with this so that we don't have to worry about it." Basically.
Absolutely. All right. Next up, let's get to the dumbest team in the NFL, the Atlanta Falcons.
Oh my God.
The Dallas Cowboys. So the biggest, they already own the record for biggest like lead loss in the Super Bowl with their collapse against the New England Patriots, which I was there for, and it was hard to watch. This is there. I believe it was like when leading a team by like 19 points, I think it was in the fourth, or 15 points in the fourth quarter. In the fourth quarter, teams are like 140 something, 44-0.
Yeah.
And now they're the one.
Yep.
It's just, I don't know what's going on there. I agree that that needs to be blown up. That team needs to be blown up.
I don't know.
Dan Quinn is. I don't either. I think it's like I said. I think it needs to be blown up. Maybe like just a complete rebuild from top to bottom of something, because that collapse in the things haven't been the same since that collapse in the playoff.
Yeah, man, that collapse, took their soul. They had a horrible year after that. This year, they're playing well. They're putting up points. They're putting up. I mean, Matt Ryan, I think, is number one in fantasy right now with how many back-to-back
yards and touchdowns too.
Yards and touchdowns. I mean, last week they had 300-yard receivers, dude. Last week they had 300. This week they didn't have 300-yard receivers, but they had, I think, 3 guys with touchdowns. And it's just crazy, man. Like how they're what the Texans were. What was it, like a year or two ago, when they were figuring out ways to lose, like different ways to lose. They come from a head loss that they would do. That feels like the Falcons this year, man. They're a good team on offense. They put up a ton of points, and then somehow they break down and can't score, and give up a ton of points real quick.
Yeah, and you let Mike McCarthy off the hook, because Mike McCarthy had some really bad plays.
Yes,
in this
man.
game. So you literally, no one's talking about Mike McCarthy because how bad this collapse was, and not only that, like you won the game if you just fall on the ball,
dude. And the thing about it is that they should still be talking about Mike McCarthy because of what it took to win this game, man. And like you said, the heat's off of him for a second, but I mean, people still need to have him on the radar because he's not making good decisions, and that team.
They got the Seahawks. They got the Seahawks next week.
That's what I'm saying. Like they're not going to be a good team, man. I don't know, and a lot of it can be attributed to Mike McCarthy because the talent is there, dude. The talent is there,
100%,
and it's just bad decision making.
Yeah, this was supposed to be the guy, that everyone was always saying that, and me included, that Jason Garrett was the one holding this team back, and now Mike McCarthy seems to be the one. And I honestly believe whenever they brought in Mike McCarthy, I was like, this is the guy. I didn't believe he was the guy. He had such a big falling out with Aaron Rodgers, and it partly was because of play calling and the way that team was being run. And
man, the thing I'll say about that though, man, is it's weird how a change of perspective or a change of scenery changes your perspective. Like this guy won a championship, right? But now it's like, man, Aaron Rodgers is on another level to in spite of Mike McCarthy win a championship, man. That's how crazy that is.
Not only that, Aaron Rodgers was getting so much shit about how things ended with him and Mike McCarthy. And now I think people are realizing, like, well, damn, maybe he had a point.
Mm-hmm.
And you said perspective changes whenever with the change of scenery, and I think that's the same. Because I personally was never on the it's Aaron Rodgers' fault. I was always like, it's this organization, the way it's run, and I think it started with Mike McCarthy, and I think it's starting to show that.
I thought it was Aaron Rodgers. I'm being honest with you, because I was like, I don't know. I hold a lot of reverence for coaches that have won Super Bowls because it's not easy by any stretch.
Hard.
Yeah, it's hard, dude. It's hard. And for him to be a Super Bowl winning coach and have Aaron Rodgers, and I was like, man, they can't. I mean, they already won a championship. What's going on? Well, at the same time, now if you look at it, and it's something that I've learned or I'm growing with that situation, is Aaron Rodgers knows what it takes to win a championship. He's there. He's a player. He's on the field. He knows. So if he sees that the coach isn't doing what they did to win the championship, or he can't overcome it because he's older and he needs more help, then he knows what's up. He's towards the end of his career. He's not going to be like, I'm just going to blow it up because I don't like him. He's going to blow it up because I need somebody that's going to put me in a position to win because I need more help. No, I can't do it by myself. So it's very interesting, man. It's going to be an interesting season in Dallas, as I have to say, because the scrutiny, the media scrutiny is 10 times what it is in Dallas, what it is in Green Bay, man. So we'll see.
Oh yeah, man. He's gonna have a rough week. I think after next week he's gonna have a very rough week. All right, next up, not much to talk about here except for Christian McCaffrey going down with I believe it's a high ankle sprain.
Yep.
Buccaneers handled the Panthers as expected.
Yeah, we talked
Tom
about that.
Brady Tom Brady looks a little bit better.
Timing. We talked about it. About it.
Yeah, I don't think either of us ever had any doubt that he was going to look a little bit better this year. I mean, this week he had a couple big drops, also like Shady McCoy dropping that touchdown pass. So I can't put that on Brady at all. So I think that next week, I forgot who they're playing. They are playing the Broncos next week. So and with Drew Lock being out, they'll be able to probably handle that team and put up another game like this. But yeah, Tom Brady looks better.
Yep.
He actually threw a bomb. He threw a bomb to Mike Evans. How about that?
For once, he had that long, that deep ball that in his arsenal. And
I've seen him forever.
Well, yeah, the thing about it too is, man, is like that's all you need is just one. Because now defensive coordinators are gonna be like, holy crap, he can still do it. So
watch out for it now.
Now we have to put plays in. Now we have to have a safety cover over on Mike Evans because they have that in their arsenal. So I'm saying that's all you need is just one of those plays, and it changes your defensive looks.
All right, next up, the 49ers get a dominant win over the Jets. They lose Garoppolo. Seems like it's gonna be a minor injury, but he'll be out for a couple weeks. They lose Nick Bosa and was it McKinnon? Not McKinnon. Dang, I forgot. It's somebody. It's another defensive player. Lose them both to ACL injuries.
Where was this game played at? Because I said, where was this game played at? Because the players
were in New York Jets.
Yeah, the players were complaining about the turf or something, right?
Oh, I didn't see any of that.
Yeah, I saw it. They said that I think when Bosa went down, somebody tweeted that they need to fix it, that they've had problems there or something, and that they need to fix it. That it's a multi-million dollar stadium, and they're still not able to get the turf right.
Yeah, it's the Jets, and why am I not surprised? Hold on, I can pull up the ACL. Was it Jalen Hurd, maybe? Oh no, sorry, Solomon Thomas is the one that the defensive lineman that went out.
Mm-hmm.
So they lose Bosa and they lose Thomas, and these guys already didn't look good in their first game against the Arizona Cardinals. This game they look good, but they lose so many people, and next week they have the Giants. So it's a little not panic button yet, but in this division you don't want to fall behind.
Yep, agreed.
All right. After that, we have Steelers taking care of the Broncos. Drew Lock also goes down. Nothing serious, but he'll be out for a couple weeks. So they had to bring in their backup. But honestly, the weird thing is, like after that, the Steelers kind of cooled off, and I was getting kind of upset because like, come on guys, like come on Ben, I played you this week. You're letting me down. I should have probably started Burrow, but it's all right. I picked up Tannehill, so maybe I'll start Tannehill this week.
Yeah, I had Tannehill from the beginning, and he got way more points than Watson, so I'm debating about putting him in instead of Watson, man, and I never thought I'd say that.
Yeah, but Steelers looking good. The defense is still elite.
Mm-hmm.
Next up, the Titans. Man, they were clinching. They were clinching at the end of this game. They're I think their stomach dropped a little bit when the Jacksonville Jaguars came back. Gardner Minshew, though, man, I think is the story of this team so far. As I think the talk of Tennessee is Ryan Tannehill. Gardner Minshew is the talk of this. It looks like the idea. I mean, the thought of letting Nick Foles go and letting Gardner Minshew take over for a season. There's word going around now that they might want to hold on to him and skip over Trevor Lawrence. And if the Jets are going to be get the number one pick. Let's be honest. But so Gardner Minshew is gaining a lot of respect amongst amongst fans, and I think it's a well deserved. They were getting destroyed, and they made that huge comeback at the end.
Well, the thing about it is, I think he has respect to the locker room because of what he did last year, and he's a gamer. He goes out there, he wants to win. He has a skill set. It might not be the greatest skill set, it might not be the greatest arm, but he's making big plays, man. He's making the right decisions on certain the plays that he needs to make. He came up short, like you mentioned, but Tennessee was sweating, dude. Like, it wasn't in the bag by any stretch, and it was a close game, a 3-point game. A field goal gets them into overtime, and who knows what happens in overtime. So, yeah, man. I mean, I think last year too, man. I think it was. I think they benched him too. They benched Minshew towards the end, right?
Yeah. They benched. They brought him in like towards the end, and then that's when they basically just gave up on Foles because he came in and started balling. He wasn't. They didn't win a lot of games, but he was definitely not the reason they were losing him.
But then they benched him again when Foles came back right after the injury or something like that.
Oh yeah, but that was like for a few games, maybe. It wasn't for very long. I think they still wanted to, because they gave him all that money. They wanted to see it through, and when they realized, okay, Foles isn't the guy. Everyone was telling them that he wasn't the guy. But
that's what I'm saying though. Like, how would those games have helped Minshew in his growth for this year?
Yeah,
I'm saying?
sure.
You need more snaps, you need more looks, you need more experience, and you took that away because you wanted to make sure that everybody at the NFL was right, that Foles wasn't the guy. You know what I mean?
Yep, absolutely. He could be miles ahead of where he is now, but it is what it is, and I think Gardner Minshew will get those reps that he lost back for sure. All right, next we have the Packers. Packers destroying the Lions. Yeah.
We saw that coming.
Yeah, no one expected anything different. The Bills sweating a little bit towards the end of this game against the Dolphins, 31-28. Josh Allen still looks good, trucking guys. That was a beautiful truck. But yeah, they get the win, and I think don't put too much stock into like it was a close. It's a divisional game. You got to always take those into consideration when you talk about divisional games.
Not only that, man, but like I mentioned to you, Parker actually played. I benched him. They said super late that he was going to play. He had a touchdown. I mean, I don't care. I put in a guy who had more points than him. But he makes a difference. He had a touchdown. It wasn't that high of a scoring game. And Miami was pesky, man. And like you said, the divisional games, they're not easy. They're not easy.
Absolutely not. All right, next up, Colts handling the Vikings, showing that this Vikings team is not who they were last year. This team is probably going to finish last in the division, or competing at least with the Lions for last in the division. But I like Matt Stafford a lot more than I like Kirk Cousins, so I would probably give the advantage to Detroit in terms of who's going to be better. But Colts taking care of business here. They lost Marlon Mack last week, so they had to come in here, and Jonathan Taylor came in and was balling.
Dude, Minnesota put up 11 points, man. How do you do that, man? You got Adam Thielen. You got who's the running back? What's that guy's name?
Dalvin Cook. They just signed both guys, man.
That's what I'm saying, man. Like 11 points, and Indianapolis does not have what you would call a great defense. They have a good defense.
They have a serviceable defense.
There you go. But 11 points, dude. Come on, man.
It was bad. All right, man. Next up, Kyler balling this week again. Or not again, because he didn't necessarily ball in the first week, but this week he balled out against the Washington football team, who I think is a scrappy team that can hang. But this win just shows me how talented this Cardinals team is, and how good of a coach I think Cliff Kingsbury is. I think he's starting to show that he's a good coach.
It just took him a little bit to get with the program, a whole year basically.
Yeah, that and number one receiver.
Well, and he got his toys in order. But they're ahead of schedule, man. They're ahead of schedule. I don't think they were supposed to be where they're at now, but they're showing that they're a good football team. They're not great. They're not like going to win every game for sure, but they're a good football team,
Absolutely. All right, next up, Ravens and Texans, and what I would never thought I would say, but the offense failed the Texans this year, this week instead of the defense. Who would have thought?
Man, that line, I don't know what is going on with the offensive line, man. They're giving no time.
Man.
There's no time. There's no time for Watson. Watson making some bad decisions, some bad throws.
Yep.
He's regressing. I feel like he regresses every year. Not like he keeps regressing. I feel like it's a 2 steps forward, 1 step back kind of deal with Watson. And I think we're in the 1 step back phase right now. And a lot of that too, I mean, some of it is his fault, but a lot of it is that line, man. That line is so leaky right now. And hopefully he can get on the same page soon. I mean, if we're being honest, we all thought they were going to be 0-2 coming out the gate, playing against Kansas City, and then go back to back. This next 3 games are more manageable, but the way they lost, it doesn't look good. I don't think this is the same team that came back to a 9-7 record. Was it last year, right? Last year when they came back?
Yeah.
They're not a good football team, man. They're not a good football team. I don't think they have a lot of talent. They traded away a lot of their talent, or they let it walk. They traded Clowney. They traded Hopkins. Man, I hate to say it, but this feels like a Chip Kelly Philadelphia thing where he traded everybody away, man, and we were left with nothing. Scraps.
I think, and I said it a couple times this week. I think Bill O'Brien thinks he's smarter than he actually is. He thinks he's the smartest guy in the room, and he thought that he can make certain moves like, "Oh, I'm saving the team money," but in reality, you're just hurting the team. And this is what's happening right now. I blame the first week against the Chiefs. I think a lot of that I blamed on, Deshaun didn't look great. This week, I blame it a lot on the offensive line in a week where the defensive line really looked good.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
The defensive line hasn't looked good in a long time.
Yeah, man. How many sacks did they get on Lamar Jackson, man? For somebody
I know JJ had 2.
That's what I'm saying. I think who was it that had the third one? I know for sure that I saw at least 3. And in fairness, Lamar Jackson is not easy to take down, man. He's very elusive. He has wheels. He can move. And they were bothering him the whole game. He wasn't really comfortable. I wouldn't say he was comfortable the whole game,
Yeah, I agree, man. It's one of those things where I wish instead of JJ calling out Blacklock, maybe he should have been calling out just the entire offense. Like, where were y'all? Like, we put y'all in situations that were manageable and y'all threw them away. So it sucks, man. But, at least we picked that game right. Next up, and I think Patrick Mahomes' worst game. Chargers barely eke out a victory against the Chargers. The Chiefs barely eke out a victory against the Chargers. Justin Herbert basically telling me, go fuck yourself. Like, I thought this kid was not good, and he said, you think.
Oh, no, dude. That's what I'm telling you, man. Again, these guys were on Hard Knocks. Watching them on Hard Knocks. And again, I've seen, so many seasons of Hard Knocks. It's one of my favorite shows. And there's been rookies on there. I mean, I think Mayfield was on there too. And they didn't talk. And when I say they, I'm talking about veterans. I'm talking about coaches. They didn't talk about Mayfield like they talk about Herbert, however you say his name. They had reverence for him. They said, man, he throws a pretty ball. He just needs to get with the program and understand the plays. But he was making plays, man. In the limited time that they had, he was making plays. And he was making bigger plays than Taylor was. But the coach, it's Anthony Lynn, right? I think his coach, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's adamant that Taylor's the quarterback, and I understand why. You don't want to put your first round guy out there. You want him to get seasoned, and Taylor's good. He's serviceable. He can win. He has the respect of the team, and I've always wanted to see him with at least 2 years with the team because he keeps getting booted after 1 year, even though he has a winning record, and he's a good quarterback. Now. The details. Have you heard of the details of what happened?
Yes, and I believe that doctor should be fired immediately. Someone that I know said, "I don't think the doctor should be fired. I think they should be investigating the whole team." I'm just like, what do you mean investigate the whole team? Like, fire the doctor. That's not a mistake. You have millions of dollars that you're responsible for, and you puncture his lung with a shot. you're fired.
Yeah, the thing they said that it is possible, but it's rare for that to happen. I don't know. Maybe he has a lawsuit. I mean, he played. I mean, the rookie played so well that do you think? And he's going to be out for a while too. I think Taylor nursing his.
He has to, man. It's a punctured lung.
That's what I'm saying. Nursing his punctured lung. I mean, that's. Do you sue the team? I mean, do you sue? What do you do?
I don't know, man. I think if they fire the doctor, you sue the doctor. But if like they keep like if he's still employed there, I think you have every right to say I'm gonna sue y'all. Like you almost killed me. Like
That's
people die from punctured lungs. Like we don't. That's a serious thing.
That's so crazy. And on top of it too, what's crazy, man, is NFL is so barbaric, man. Like this dude has cracked ribs, like they're legit cracked, and he has to take a pain shot to get through the game, so that he doesn't have to focus on the pain, he can focus on the game. Mm-hmm. What other sport does that, man?
Yeah.
So it's just crazy. It's crazy situation.
Yeah, but dude, Chargers. I might be picking them next week, especially if Herbert's gonna be playing. I might pick them. Dude, I don't even know who they're playing yet.
They're good. Their defense is good. The thing that I saw about their defense is I think they have Melvin Ingram, right? And they have right? They have Melvin Ingram.
Yeah.
And they have who else is the other guy? Is it Ziggy? They got that Ziggy guy. I don't know.
Maybe.
Either way, dude, those veterans were helping out the younger guys and telling them where to play. Like they showed more like osmosis, basically. Like we got to be a good team, so we got to show each other where we got to be. We got to hold each other accountable. In other words, so that's why I knew they were going to be a good team. I didn't know how fast we were going to get there, and I mean, you saw what Kansas City did to the Texans last week, and for them to only win by 3 points, I mean, this was a close game, man.
Yeah, this is probably the worst game I've seen Mahomes play in a very long time. So next up, man, probably the game of the week, I would say. Patriots and Seahawks, man. Cam came to play. The dude is balling out right now, showing that, hey, all you idiots that didn't sign me for the amount that I signed with Belichick, y'all suck. Like, because he is balling, dude, right now. Unfortunately, he had to go up against my current MVP of the NFL, Russell Wilson, because he's balling just as much and maybe even more.
I mean, he balled last year too, man. Like he's so consistent. He's so consistent.
He was runner-up.
Yeah, he's so consistent. So it's just amazing the level that these guys are playing. I don't like Cam's showing off.
Get out of here.
When he's losing by like 30 points, I don't want to see that, man. You're losing.
I get it. Okay, fine.
That's the only thing. But his game was always good to me, man. His game was always good. He's a tough guy. He's hard to take down. He's not the most accurate quarterback, but sometimes he doesn't have to be because his receivers are so open, or he'll throw it so off that he throws them open, basically.
Yeah.
But it's good to see him with a good coach and a good franchise. And the thing is, Ron Rivera is not a bad coach. I'm just saying he's not a great offensive coach.
He's a defensive-minded guy, yeah.
Yeah, and Belichick is defensive-minded as well, but he's used that to become a good offensive mind. And he also has Josh McDaniels, who's
might be an offensive genius, man.
He's a really good offensive coach. So I'm glad to see that for him. But man, what a game, dude! What a game!
Yeah, it was a fun game. I was literally watching. I was like, I'm about to go to sleep, and then Cam drives the field, and I'm like, I gotta stay awake. I gotta watch the end of this because I just wanted to see how it ended. And I was actually mad at the result because I felt like Cam takes you all the way to the 2-yard line, and that's the play you run.
Yeah, I know, man. I know,
but people are like, "Well, that works. That's the play that worked." Exactly, that's the play that was working all day. So you didn't think that Pete Carroll was going to throw the entire kitchen at the left?
But Bill Belichick has made some boneheaded decisions at the 1-yard line or 2-yard line or whatever in his past, and again, man, that's the other thing too with Cam being new installed as a quarterback of the New England Patriots. It's still a learning process, man. How long has it been since Brady and Belichick have been working together, and this is the first time that Belichick has a new quarterback that is not been part of the system. Like
Yeah.
even whenever Matt Flynn was there, it was part of the system. When they won those 10 games, they still didn't make the playoffs. So, and whenever Brissett was there, they drafted him, and he'd been part of the system. So it's one of those things where maybe if Brady was there, he probably tells Belichick, "Hey, why don't we try this instead of bootleg or whatever, you know?" But because Cam is new, he's not gonna ruffle or rock the boat and say, "Yeah, I'll do that." You know, it's been working. Let's go ahead and run with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. I completely. I personally thought that at that point Belichick failed Cam Newton in that instance. You've seen much better, like much smarter play calling in there, and then that was just like kind of it kind of like it led up, it crescendoed, and then it just kind of fell flat.
Yeah.
But well, I think Cam looks great, and so does the Seahawks. We talk most about the Patriots here. The Seahawks look fantastic.
Man,
goddamn,
dude, Pete Carroll, man. I mean, what can you say about that guy? He's just, I don't know. He's always his teams are always ready to play. They never leave a egg on the field. You know, they're always competing. And he's been able to do it with you know, from leaving the Legion of Boom. I mean, Thomas isn't there anymore. You know, it's just so many different players go in and go out, and yet they have the same philosophy. They have the same competing team on both sides of the ball, even on special teams. So it's really a testament to how good of a head coach Pete Carroll is, man.
Yeah, and how about DK basically challenging Stephen Gilmore, like just saying, you know what, I'll take you deep, and taking him deep. That was great.
Man. Those are the fun ones. Like, I didn't think he could do that, man. I think Metcalf could compete like that, like, but he did, and he's up for a challenge, and that was cool to see.
And I think that might be being around Russell, honestly. Like being around Russell might be like putting that fire, that competitive fire inside of him.
Not only that, but Russell's accurate, man. So if he tells you, hey, it's gonna be, you know, where only you can get it, then I mean, what do you have to lose? I'm the only one that can get it, you know?
Hell yeah. All right, in this game, all I gotta say is Raiders are legit. Dude, gotta start saying it.
The Raiders.
The Raiders, man, they are ahead of schedule. I thought the John Gruden experiment was gonna crash and burn. Mike Mayock has been doing great in terms of finding talent, guys that are just willing to play and can ball. And Derek Carr fighting for his career.
Yes, dude. His back is against the wall right now, man, because that team is like you said, is balling out. I don't know, but you know,
that touchdown to Waller. Did you see that one, or was it Waller or one of the receivers that literally was like about to be out of bounds, but it was just low enough. It was just low enough for the receiver to catch it out of the way of the. That was a beautiful throw.
But you know what I've been seeing a lot about this game too is not necessarily where the Raiders are at, and kudos to Gruden, because it should be kudos to Gruden, man. I mean, Gruden is doing a good job. You know, he's been looked at like as a crazy man. Now he's crazy like a fox. You know, because I mean, seriously, he gave up.
Khalil, Amari Cooper, but got first-round picks for them. Bill O'Brien.
Dude, well, you know what I heard, man? You know what I heard that really pissed me off? That's from a credible source that the Raiders basically begged O'Brien to take their 2 first-round picks for DeAndre Hopkins. And he turned them down because he didn't want to give them to somebody in the division or something like that, or somebody in the
AFC.
The AFC, dude. Can you believe it? We would have had 2 first-round picks for DeAndre Hopkins, man.
Move on.
So, so he's crazy like a fox, ahead of schedule. Everybody's playing with their backs against the wall. But what I've been hearing is, you know, Drew Brees this and Drew Brees is out of it. Drew Brees is this. Man, give them credit where it's due, man. They played a great game. They shut them down. Dude, Drew Brees was making his throws, man. I mean, I don't know what else he can do. You know what I mean? Like he was making throws. It just was a better team for this game, you know?
Dude, they have Emmanuel Sanders. They have Alvin Kamara, and they still they shut down Emmanuel Sanders. Like Emmanuel Sanders, I started Emmanuel Sanders because I thought with Michael Thomas out, the majority of the receptions were going to be going to Sanders, and he couldn't get open. And that's not a testament to well, Michael Thomas isn't there. He wasn't catching things when Michael Thomas was there. It comes down to this Raiders defense, this Raiders team that Gruden has built a winning culture around these guys. And I love seeing like teams turn around their culture. That's why I like the Miami Dolphins, even though they haven't started winning yet. I think Brian Flores created a winning culture over there that will eventually, maybe 1 to 2 years, they'll be competing. And that's what I'm seeing with the Raiders happening right before our eyes.
Yeah, I feel like Gruden is the old guard. Like you would look at Belichick and say, how old he is and how many championships he's won. But I think Gruden's championship predates the Patriots wins, right? I think.
Yeah, I think so.
Right?
I think it was like I think it might have been the year before.
Yeah, I think it was. And so Gruden has that mentality of these old school, hard-nosed coaches. And those guys carry a ton of respect, man. They walk with the big stick, and then he has a championship to go on that. Like, it's a big deal. It's a big deal. So I feel like his way of doing things is not what we're used to, because we're used to the new way. But his old way at this point is getting it done, man. And like I said, he was looked at crazy, but I don't think they're going to be looking at him like that no more, because this is a big win. And like you said, it kind of pushes them to center stage to say these guys are ready. They're ahead of schedule. We're clicking on all cylinders. And if you come to play against the Raiders, it's going to be a tough assignment for you guys.
Absolutely. All right, let's get our picks in real quick. So I already have mine kind of mapped out here on the computer. I'm gonna write yours down in my notes. Let's go with the first game on tomorrow night: Dolphins versus Jaguars at Jacksonville. I'm going Jacksonville. I think Jacksonville has looked good. I've said from the get-go, I told my brother-in-law that he's a Miami's fan. I told him they're not going to win a game until they start Tua. So I'm gonna hold fast to that and keep picking against them, even though I like Miami. And I'm gonna give Jacksonville the win. I think Jacksonville should have won that game, or I feel like they think they should have won that game. So I think they're gonna come out firing on all cylinders this week.
Yeah, man. I mean, Gardner Minshew's a hot hand. They're playing Gardner Minshew, right? He's going to play, right? So,
yeah.
So I got Jacksonville winning that game. Miami, I think Devontae Parker is still questionable. I got to check his status because I don't know if I'm going to play him or not. Mm-hmm. But yeah, man, like they just got a little bit more to go, and Jacksonville was close. So I got Jacksonville winning that game as well.
All right, next up. My first crazy pick, I think. Maybe you won't think it's so crazy, and I don't think it's crazy either. I'm picking the Giants over the 49ers. I think with the way that the 49ers got hit with injuries, if Garoppolo was playing, I probably think differently, but Garoppolo probably isn't playing. So I'm going to go New York with this one. They've been so close recently, and this might be the game that they need to get over the hump.
Yeah, I'm not willing to rock the boat on this one between us. San Francisco, both of these teams have injuries. Obviously, Barkley for the Giants, and San Francisco got Garoppolo. And I don't know, is Bosa still going to be out too?
But Bosa towards ACL, so he's out for the year.
Oh, so he's out for the year. Yeah. So yeah, I guess more injuries on San Francisco. The only thing is, man, I hate to rule out Kyle Shanahan and his genius in coming up with game plan and game planning for New York, but I'm going to take New York just to not make this a make or break for the week.
All right. Next up, this one was actually hard for me to pick. The Washington football team versus the Browns. I think I'm going with the Browns just because, more experience, I guess, for the quarterback, even though it's not the greatest of experience, but it is more experience. And Nick Chubb having a big game. Or no, I'm probably not going to say it. No Nick Chubb. I think Kareem Hunt's going to have a very big game.
Yeah, I got Cleveland on this game too. I just felt that they're more well-rounded right now than the Washington football team. And like you said, Baker Mayfield is, I mean, even though his strides aren't coming very visibly, he is getting better. I feel as a quarterback, as a signal caller, as a leader for the team. So I'm taking Cleveland too on this one.
All right. And this one, I guess if you would have asked me like 3 weeks ago if I would make this pick, I'd tell you you're freaking crazy. But I'm going to go Bengals over the Eagles. I don't like what I see with the Eagles.
No, I'm gonna take the Eagles on this one.
All right, they're gonna turn around.
What?
think he's gonna have they're gonna have a turnaround this week?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, you can't be that bad for that long. But the Bengals, I don't know, man. I just don't believe in that
The
team at all.
defense.
Yeah,
Yeah,
man. Like,
this is a good defense to have to try to get it together.
dude, AJ Green couldn't get open. Tyler Boyd didn't have any catches either, any big plays either. So I just feel like by process of elimination, Philadelphia should win this game.
Okay. Next up, Raiders and Patriots. All that stuff we just said about the Raiders, but I'm gonna go to the Patriots in this game. I think. Trust me, I don't want to. I almost said Raiders, but I think I'm gonna ride with the Belichick. Usually doesn't lose 2 in a row.
And not only that, but their backs are against the wall because if they lose, they're 1-2. So I again, it's not a normal losing 2 in a row. He's not 7-2 or 7-1 and then losing to be 7-2. He's 1-1 and he'll be 1-2. So yeah, I agree, man. I think New England. I mean, they played a hell of a game and they probably should have won that game. That should have been a touchdown at the end right there. So I got New England winning this game as well.
All right. Next up, Bears Falcons. Even though the Falcons had some of the dumbest play, I think they're still putting up points. And if you drop 39 on the Bears, you're gonna beat the Bears. So I'm gonna pick the Falcons.
Yeah, this is one of those things where the offense makes it as far as it's a sprint, and the Bears don't have that capacity to get that many points. There's no way that they can come back from 15 down, and they're probably going to be 15 down in this game at some point. So yeah, I got the Atlanta as well.
All right, next up, Rams and Bills. Another tough pick right here.
Oh, this is a tough pick, dude.
I'm gonna Bills. Bills. I like Josh Allen a lot. I'm gonna go with him. No one hurts. I think I'm definitely not starting Tyler Higbee. He's gonna have a bad game.
I'm going Rams on this one.
Okay.
So this one's.
I don't blame you.
Yeah, this one's gonna. I mean, it's just so close. Honestly, like I think the betting line is Buffalo's favored by 2.5 points, which is
the normal home team.
Yeah, nothing, dude. So I'll give it to the Rams, man. Just to be different from you and just to have something to talk about. But both of these teams are really good, man. I mean, it's weird, saying that about Buffalo, but both of these teams are really good. So
yeah, absolutely. All right, next up. Texans at Steelers. I'm going Texans. I think the Texans break the losing streak. I think the defense is going to get to. If the defense plays like this, I think they're going to get to Big Ben a lot easier than they got to Lamar Jackson. The key is keeping those receivers in check. If you're going to play the zone, try to have a better zone, I guess. But I don't think Deshaun Watson has a third bad game in a row.
Well, I think Baltimore's defense is better than Pittsburgh.
Same.
I think
they're both elite, though.
Yeah, they're both good, but I think you can tell one's better than the other. I think that Pittsburgh's offensive line is better than Baltimore's, but Lamar Jackson is way more mobile than Roethlisberger. And I also do think that the Texans can get to Roethlisberger, but they're in Pittsburgh, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna pick Pittsburgh.
All right, I'm gonna go by what me and my brother said. Big Ben, he's guaranteed to have a great. He usually has a great game. That's the norm, but he guarantees you. So he guarantees you, like maybe 3 touchdowns, but with like 4 sacks. And an interception at least.
Yeah, but 3 touchdowns would have beat the Texans last week too, right? Because they only scored 16 points.
You're not wrong. But Lamar Jackson doesn't turn the ball over.
That's true. That is true.
So I'm just saying. I think I just have that's what I'm picking from my heart. Even though I'm a Steelers fan too. So either way I win. But I want this Texans to at least get one win in these first 3 games.
Okay, real quick, since we're here from Houston, what is the narrative if they lose?
What's the narrative if they lose? Why are you going backwards? You have Deshaun Watson and you're going backwards, and the Jacksonville Jaguars have Gardner Minshew, and they're going forward. I think I personally, why are you going backwards? And to me, it doesn't come down to it. Doesn't. I'm not talking about quarterback. I'm talking about organization. All eyes got to be pointed. I think I know the media wants to talk about the Cowboys and the Patriots and all that. I think if we lose this game and it's just as bad as the first two, why aren't the Texans a national media story?
Yeah, they should be. Well, I mean, it's starting to get there. They, I retweeted something that said that Bill O'Brien is been the longest tenured coach, or one of the 6 longest tenured coaches, and the other 5 have AFC or championship games under their belt, like division championship belts under their belt. That he's getting to the game, and he's the only one that doesn't. So
yeah, he's the only AFC South coach in the last, I think, 10 years who hasn't been to the AFC Championship. The Jaguars have been to one. The Titans were just in one last year, and the Colts were in one.
Yep.
With Andrew Luck. So yeah, it's bad. Let's go ahead and fly through these. I think we can fly through these because they're not that hard, actually.
Okay.
Vikings, Titans, Vikings. I mean Titans. Sorry.
So you're taking the Vikings? I'm taking the Titans.
Titans. Sorry.
Yeah.
Titans. That's a clear one. Next one, Panthers, Chargers. The Panthers just aren't good enough on defense.
Yeah, Chargers.
All right, we have Colts, Jets. No, I'm just kidding. Colts.
I was like, wow, Colts. Yeah.
No way. The Jets might go 0-16.
Dude, the Colts are 11-point favorites, man. That's like unheard of in the NFL, man.
All right. I know this one might be a little bit closer, but I think we're both gonna have the same thing. Seahawks, Cowboys, Seahawks. I think the Seahawks are just too legit.
Yeah, and it took like all that for Dallas to come back. A motley of errors from Holmgren, or not Holmgren. What's his name? McCarthy. So yeah, I don't think Dallas is going to be able to do that against Seattle.
All right, and look this year, the Cardinals are going to go 3-0. I'm going to take the Cardinals over the Lions.
Yeah, I'm taking the Cardinals over the Lions. I don't know. Cardinals are, like I said, they're a solid team, man. I don't think that the Lions can beat them.
Yeah. All right. Buccaneers, Broncos. I'm gonna go Buccaneers. The Broncos had Drew Lock. I would say it would be a little bit closer, but I am gonna take the Bucs.
Yeah, I'm taking the Bucs too.
All right. Next up, these are the 2 hard ones, I think. Sunday night football, we got Packers at Saints. Maybe not as hard now after seeing the Saints this past week. I'm gonna go Packers. I think Packers have a much more high octane offense than the Raiders do, and then the Saints are gonna have issues.
Dude, they got a one-man show with Aaron. What's his name? Jones. Aaron Jones, dude. Yeah. He got 49 points from me, and I still lost a damn game.
Damn. So you're gonna take Packers?
Yeah, I'm taking Packers.
All right, and this is how Monday Night Football should be. Chiefs versus the Ravens. It should always be the best game. Should be Monday Night Football. That's what this is. Chiefs versus Ravens. I'm taking the Ravens. I think that their defense is a little bit better than that Chiefs defense. It's definitely better than that Chargers defense. So I'm going Ravens. I think Lamar Jackson is gonna show. I don't know if he's gonna show out technically, but I think he's gonna have a lot of favorable like drives.
I'm just gonna pick Kansas City to go against you. I just think that coming off of that poor performance, even though it was a win for the MVP Patrick Mahomes, that I think they're gonna come out with a better game plan. They got more time. And they're going to show out, man. They're going to show them that they're the defending champs, and they're going to tell Baltimore that they still got a ways to go.
All right, no, I completely get it, man. And there's no I'm not going to argue. Like, yeah, no, wait, you're wrong. Like, no, you're probably right, but I also think I might be right. All right, guys, that's the show. We'll check back with you guys next week on Monday, and I actually might message Ace and see if I can get his picks so maybe he can compete with us next week. But
that'd be cool.
So yeah, next Monday, 8 p.m. CST, we are going to be joined by Andres Ace Cabrera to talk Adesanya versus Costa, Schmodown, Deep Cut, and NFL. So it's going to be a packed show. We're going to be here for the full 2 hours as always. So please check back. Make sure to go to Twitter. Find me at Alec Miller 0423. And find Jesus at The Real Jesus. That's spelled JeeZus. And go and like us and follow us all and all that, and listen to us on Spotify, guys. We really appreciate it. So peace out, guys.
MF.